Good evening, folks. In the interest of time, we're going to begin the meeting and try to move things along as quickly as possible. But again, tonight is Monday, August 10th. This is the Harwich Select Board regular meeting in the Dombey Griffin Room. And if you would, and if you are able, please join us and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. We'll jump right into public comments and announcements. If anybody from the public would like to address the board this evening. And I'll state now, if I could, any folks who are going to come up and address the board this evening, if you could please state your name and, if appropriate, your address. So, Mr. Berry.
Duncan Berry, Post Office Box 307, West Harwich. If you want to, that's the official
Tight
address.
space.
So I'm here as the Anita's successor as president of the Harwich Historical Society. I just want to let you know that we had 72 people imbibing 3.5 gallons of Chase and Sanborn iced coffee on Saturday at the Historical Society. I call it homebrew. And we're off to a good start, and we've got another event scheduled, which is going to be scheduled, a great talk coming up in October. And so we're off to a running start, and I encourage you all to enjoy. We're probably going to do a quarterly Java tasting event, and so everybody's welcome. Coffee's free, and so is the museum. So we'd love to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public?
Hi, I'm Ann Frechette. I'm from East Harwich, and I'm on the board of the Harwich Ponds Coalition. And I'm here because I would like to advertise an event that we're hosting on Monday, August 31st from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at the Old Bank Street Firehouse. And we are gathering together people who do Cape-friendly landscaping, so landscaping that helps protect our ponds. And I encourage you all to come. At the same event, the Harwich Conservation Trust will be giving tours of the Colebrook Preserve, so I hope to see you all there. And we have also set up a table right outside the door, so if you'd like to learn more about the Harwich Ponds Coalition, please join us at the table or visit harwichwaters.org. Thank you very much.
Matt?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members. Matt Sutphin, Harwich. Last year at the non-resident taxpayers meeting, it was fairly sparsely attended, and much to the board's credit, there weren't many complaints. Some talk about streetlights and a few other things that frankly I can't remember, but this year it appears there are more people that will contribute, and I ask that the board, aside from the list of things that you put into your agenda, might query anybody who wants to volunteer as to what their concerns are for Harwich in the future. I think it would be good to hear anybody that is worried about certain trends. Thank you.
You may have just done that. Thank you. Any other members of the public? Mr. Otten.
Good evening. Thank you, Select Board. Patrick Otten, 49 Kendrick Road, East Harwich. Let's see, 496205? What's the zip? Whatever it is.
That can't be here.
So you've got my address. I'd like to make a comment on the CWMP, Comprehensive Wastewater Program. Have you heard about Space Seas? They have a comprehensive plan to send a party to the moon. Along the way, if anyone needs to pee or poop, they'll just stop at the space station. What the space station will do, who knows? By the way, there's open room in the capsule. They didn't bother to determine the carrying capacity, but it was built for 4, so they may as well take 40. Once on the moon, Space C will then figure out how to get them home. That's a comprehensive plan, right? Not really. Similarly, Harwich CWMP is not comprehensive either. And with equally expensive expenses compared to the moonshot for sewering with open and unanswered problems and questions. Humans pee about 125 gallons of urine each year, yet we are using thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of drinkable potable water from a sole source aquifer to flush it down the toilet. Planned sewering is in full swing for a cost of $450 million to Harwich, with no agreement with neighboring towns as how to process the waste or what to do with the discharge. The plan is to sewer all the blue-collar neighbors where it is easiest to dig the trenches. The mega homes along the waterfronts will not be sewered. Just let the poor pay the expense and let the rich off with no cost to their budgets. Individual homeowners will have connection fees, which are expensive, $20,000, $30,000, maybe $40,000. There is no plan to distribute those costs across the entire community. Fertilizers account for nitrogen pollution as well. Residents have already voted to stop applying fertilizers and to restrict the application. Why isn't that part of the CWNP? For a $9 million saving. There are additional problems of concern. Unknown recharge site, addressing future build-out, incorporating innovative alternative solutions has not been answered, considering a moratorium on building, performing an up-to-date water flow analysis, considering urine diverting toilets or even composting toilets. Sewering is a 19th century technology being applied in the 21st century. There are alternative, effective, less costly methods of reducing nitrogen and phosphorus in our environment. How about coming into the space age for solutions? The town's contractor is a sewering company unable to think outside the bathroom. Harwich needs to come up with a comprehensive plan rather than leaving us stuck on the moon. Please put this on your agenda for further discussion on revising the CWNP. I wish to participate and would enjoy the forthcoming results. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to staff.
Hi, Stephanie Ridenauer, Natural Resources Director. Just wanted to let everyone know we have a talk tomorrow night, 5:30 at Brooks Free Library for our 2026 herring update. So we'll have our preliminary count data for river herring, and we'll go over the summary for our harvest. I've been in the herring run all day today with DMF, so we'll do an update on today's project as well as other herring run projects. So feel free to join 5:30 tomorrow night at the library.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Hooper.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Select Board members, Lynn Cooper, DPW Director. I'm up here this evening to really have a list of thank yous I'd like to give for the people that made the Route 28 sidewalk project come together and a success. And I know when I say you don't see things happen that's happened out there and as quickly as they happen, I'll get into a little of that. I'd like to start by saying this all started, that sidewalk project, with a letter written to Mass DOT on May 11th, 2015 from the Select Board. I have a copy right here. That letter was written to Mary Jo Perry, District Director in District 5, and the response said, we'll be happy to build you a sidewalk the next time we're in the neighborhood doing some work. Well, next time we're in a neighborhood doing some work never materialized. And then we had some concerned citizens that came up to the plate, and we started the process rolling. I'd first like to thank the taxpayers of Harwich who voted an article in 2021 of $200,000 towards required engineering to get this on a transportation improvement project with Mass DOT. A transportation improvement project is one in which the municipalities are generally required to do the survey and the engineering to their standards, and then Mass DOT takes the project over from that. They bid the project, they oversee it through fruition. So it's a good way to leverage limited dollars, which in this instance, I think the town essentially got a sidewalk for $200,000 that we've been desiring for over a decade. Next on the list is Mr. Paul Manning, who contributed $300,000 to that engineering that was required. You know, I met with Mr. Manning early on, and he said this was about his grandchildren not being able to walk to Harwichport. And I thought that was a very generous thing. Nobody's actually, in my 36 years, I've never had anybody hand me a check for that amount of money. Actually, a copy of the check, not the check itself. Sue Tomich, a non-resident taxpayer, drove this bus. Sue, I was summoned to Chris Clark, former administrator, 3 administrators ago, sorry. I got summoned to his office for an impromptu meeting, and Ms. Tomich was there. And this was probably around 2018, and the man said, how are we going to get this project moving? And she was a concerned citizen, again, I believe for her grandchildren, lives down in the neighborhood down there. And the bridge by Brax was treacherous if you were walking at all because of the guardrails that were there. There was literally no room. And after meeting with Chris Clark, he said, what do we do here? And we started making bi-weekly calls to Mass DOT until we got some traction. And that lasted for about 6 months. And it was Sue Tomich who drove that. Sue has stayed involved in this project to this very day and was helpful with building some public support along with some utility contacts. So, you know, as a non-resident taxpayer, you know, you can make some things happen. Mary Jo Perry, District Director, she agreed to do the survey, which is highly unusual for them to volunteer to do it. I thought it was so we would stop calling her, quite frankly. Steve Tupper, Deputy Director of the Cape Cod Commission, he assisted in gaining traction with this, with Mass DOT, and was instrumental once it was adopted by DOT in getting it moved up. Take a second to explain that. Usually the tip process takes, once you get on the list, you wait in line for your turn. It's usually 5 years. In this instance, we got approval for this project from their PRC, Project Review Committee, January 28th of 2021. To see that project done today, 5.5 years later, you don't usually see. Nor do you see Mass DOT build a sidewalk on one side of the road. They're usually all about complete streets that require sidewalks on both sides of the roads and bike lanes, and that footprint was not desired by anybody. Colleen Medeiros, Transportation Manager of the Cape Cod Commission, she did the PNF and the PIF, the project need form and the project initiation form, which saved the town a lot of some money that we were otherwise paid a consultant for. Pam Hasner, Mass DOT District 5 Director, District 5 Project Development Engineer, retired. Pam is the single person on this list that made it happen. Without her, this thing would never materialize because they don't build, Mass DOT does not build sidewalks on one side of the road. And it was Ms. Hasner, now retired, that made that happen and got us some traction with DOT. Steve Rhodes, VHB project engineer and PE. He met a lot of tight deadlines getting this thing engineered to DOT standards. By that, DOT wanted to see this thing move along, and they let us combine multiple submissions. It's mind-boggling how much is required when getting a project through Mass DOT. And Steve worked his tail off and met those deadlines. You see what we've got is that sidewalk. Mass DOT team really lucked out, and I have to say, I worked with the best Mass DOT team I have in my 23 years as director. I'm not going to go through everybody on that team. It was led by Mike McGrath, Ian Betancourt, Mike Suzovich, Ed Doherty, Nate Jones. My humble opinion, they were the A team. And I've done a lot of Mass DOT projects, and they were about getting it done, not analysis paralysis. Chris Lynch, Lawrence Lynch Corporation, owner Lawrence Lynch, for being a low bidder on the project. Still, I'm very thankful to this day, being one of the best contractors on the Cape. Jackie Hempstead, Lawrence Lynch Project Manager. This thing wouldn't have happened and met these deadlines or be done right now if it was not for that woman. She really, I would be on the phone with her Friday nights, 8, 9 o'clock, figuring what our moves were on Monday morning. She really worked it. It was her responsibility to work everything out between the town, Mass DOT, contractors, subs, 6 utility companies, and I'm sure I'm missing some. She really did a fantastic job. I won't bore you with all this, but there's 6 pages of this Gantt chart, project schedule chart. I had 6 pages here, just to build a little teeny sidewalk. E.J. Souza, Lawrence Lynch Operations Manager, and Tony Augusto, Project Superintendent, both key men that helped this take place. Eversource CEO Joe Nolan. Joe got involved because Eversource wasn't participating in our biweekly utility coordination meetings, and as soon as he got involved, they showed up and they beat their own schedule. They beat our schedule by a month. They really stayed on this project, and you usually don't see that out of the utilities. Fantastic job. Thank you, Joe. And Jamie Montero, Comcast Construction Coordinator, they beat their own schedule. I will say at the very end of this, Verizon did get it done, but we were working out here June 30th and July 1st, which we never allow. Town never would allow that on our main street. We did that simply to get the project done. I would say it's 99% done. There is a small punch list to be done in the fall. As somebody that hopefully no one will notice. But other than that, to get this thing done in 5 years is absolutely amazing, and to get it done for $200,000 worth of taxpayer money. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or go take my seat.
Yeah, unfortunately, no questions because we're in public comment, but we appreciate it. Appreciate the update.
All right, thank you.
And with that presentation, I'll take a motion to adjourn. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Staff, Mr. McKay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Jim Mulcahy, Assistant Town Administrator. I'm honored and proud tonight to honor one of our outstanding lifeguards, Mr. Sean Kraus. I'm going to have Sean come up here. Sean is joined by John Losey, our Program Specialist 3, who's also in charge of our lifeguards as well as our summer program. So we all know that the entire summer is busy here, but the 4th of July holiday is especially busy. Sean, on his post, rescued a man who was swimming out to the buoy on the private side of Red River Beach. The gentleman got tired on his way back in from swimming out, and Sean was very alert, obviously, in his job, went out and rescued the man. As John's notes point out, to rescue active front. So I'll have him go into that in a little bit. But we have a recognition of outstanding service that I'd like to read tonight for Sean in his the first service to the town of Harwich. In recognition for your outstanding actions during a water rescue on July 4th, 2026, your quick thinking, professionalism, and unwavering dedication to the safety of others helped protect a life during a critical situation. Your calm response and commitment to public service exemplify the highest standards of the town of Harwich Beach Department and reflect great credit upon yourself and your fellow lifeguards. Sean has proudly served as a town of Harwich lifeguard for 4 years and is currently pursuing a degree in finance at Providence College. His dedication, leadership, and willingness to act decisively in an emergency are a testament to his character and the exceptional service he provides to our community. The town of Harwich extends its sincere gratitude and appreciation for your commitment, courage, and for representing our beach staff and the town with excellence.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Sean's been doing a great job for us. This moment just highlighted the discipline and attention that he brings to the work every day. He actually made the rescue with our Lifeguard of the Week tube that he had earned the week prior for his effective communication, which can actually be quite a bit of a challenge for some of the younger generation, particularly with all the phone use of those kids. But he's very attentive on the radio and not just making sure that he's doing his job, that those around him are being held responsible as well. And he's actually one of 7 family members, so I believe it's 4 Krauses and then 3 Shea cousins that are, some of them are here tonight and some of them are watching online, so. Comes from a long lineage of Harwich town employees and lifeguards as well, so we're very happy to have him and we hope to have him back again next year. Thank you.
Excellent job, Sean. We appreciate it. Is an understatement, so thank you. Any other members from staff here this evening that would like to address the board? Seeing none. We're going to jump into the non-resident taxpayer portion of the meeting, and I believe that the small meeting room is still empty. So folks in attendance, we're going to go around the table and introduce ourselves, and if you, and then we're going to have some department heads get up and give a brief presentation about the happenings in their particular area. And if you have any questions, I'm going to ask that you head to the podium, and once you get there and called upon, introduce yourself. If you could give us your address, and then you can fire away, and we'll be happy to try to get you the answers tonight. And if we can't get them tonight, we'll get back to you in the very near future with those. So without further ado, I'm gonna lead it off, if you would, Jen, and then we'll go around the horn here, and then Jay, you can take it over.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Mintz, and I am the Finance Director.
Hi, I'm Jen Clark. I'm one of the Executive Assistants in the Administration Office.
Good evening, Jeff Handler, Select Board Member. Thank you all for being here.
Good evening. My name is Anita Doucette, also a Select Board Member. Thank you very much for your attendance. This is quite a crowd tonight. It's good. Thank you.
Pete Pikarski from the Select Board.
Mark Kelleher, Select Board. Don Howell, Select Board, and just going to veer off for a second and thank Mark for bringing us back last year. It was through his efforts that we were brought to mind that we hadn't done it for a long period of time. So,
Jim Mulcahy, Assistant Town Administrator. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
All right, great. And I'm Jay McGrail. I'm the Harwich Town Administrator. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to introduce ourselves. As I said, I'm Jay. I'm the Harwich Town Administrator, which I serve as the Chief Administrative Officer of the town. A complicated job that it's not very easy to explain what I do. But basically, if there's problems at the end of the day, you end up talking to me or one of the Select Board members here. So my job is to run the day-to-day operations of town government. I oversee the different town departments, manage the budget, carry out the policies that the Select Board sets. I make sure that the services you rely on as residents of the town are getting delivered. I'm the connection between the Select Board decisions and the residents, and that's kind of the job that I take on a day-to-day basis. Before I turn things over to the department heads, so tonight what we're going to do is you're going to hear a brief overview of their departments from a list of departments that we put on the screen up there. So the departments that are on the screen up there are who you'll hear from tonight. If there's somebody outside of that list that you have a burning desire or question, we'll certainly do our best to answer it. If I'm not able to answer it, I'm going to grab your information. We'll get back to you. But I have all those department heads here. Trying to think of, like, if you're here for the summer, who do you want to talk to? So I tried to put that list together, and that's who I'm hoping is the right fit. So before I hear from all of those, I want to take a moment to recognize an important part of our success here in Harwich. We have, and we are incredibly fortunate to have an amazing staff. So one of the reasons I'm fairly new in the role, I've been here since early this calendar year. So in March, I think I started. One of the reasons I joined the team in Harwich, and one of the things that impresses me most on a day-to-day basis is the staff. We have an amazing staff. So you all live as full-time residents in other communities in Massachusetts or outside of Massachusetts, and I challenge the staff we have here to any of the staffs back in the town halls that you guys work in. We have a great group of people, whether it's the people working at the front counter selling stickers, to our amazing first responders, to our DPW staff. You just heard a little bit about some of the work that we're doing on public works projects around town. Our lifeguards that you heard about tonight, you know, the guys taking care, or girls taking care of the golf course over at Cranberry Valley. You know, they really take a lot of pride and love their jobs, and we're really fortunate to have them. So I wanted to give them a shout out. And then also the department heads. You know, we have a lot of high-level professional department heads. You'd think that we're out here on Cape Cod, out on the lower Cape, and who knows what we end up with, but that's not the case. We have some of the best, highest-level professionals that you can imagine. You know, we're fortunate that in the roles, in the high-level roles that we have, and you'll meet some of them tonight, they're not necessarily employees that matriculated through the system and just ended up being the last person standing. That's not what we have. We have really high-level professionals that really do their job in the town of Justice, and really happy to introduce some of them tonight and hear from them about what they do. The town's lucky to have such a dedicated and amazing staff in place. So sitting with me tonight is Jim Mulcahy.
Getting all choked up over there, Jim, huh? I think it's the
Really
suit.
passionate. I'm really passionate. Well, the suits are because we had a bond rating call with Standard
Oh.
& Poor. Like, we're, you know, so we thought, you know, not that we don't wear suits for all of you, we definitely would, but we were thinking the Standard & Poor people earlier today probably wanted to see ties and jackets, so that's what we went with. But this is Jim. He's the Assistant Town Administrator. He's been with me for a number of years. Introduced Jen Mintz. She's our Finance Director, a huge part of the team. We have Jen Clark, as she introduced herself, along with Natasha Lyon from our office and Stephanie Hall. They really do a great job of making sure that nothing falls through the cracks. When I say I have an open door policy, it's really their doors that I'm opening as well. So, you know, have to acknowledge that. But I want to just take a quick minute to just talk about how I run the office. You know, to me, responsiveness and being proactive and getting back to you with answers that you need are the things I probably take pride in the most in myself. You know, there's nothing more challenging than hearing I emailed town hall 10 times, nobody got back to me, I called, nobody responded. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. It's really hard to be perfect at anything that you do, but being responsive, even if it's just a, hey, thank you for the email, Jen's gonna get back to you with a time for us to meet, or hey, maybe a phone call would be easier to discuss this. Responsiveness is a huge part of what I believe in town government, and I believe that the department heads that I work with, you know, believe that as well. So that's one thing that in Harwich we take really critical. You know, ultimately, the way I position myself is a conduit to all of the different departments. So I have the best job in the world because I get to play in everybody's sandbox. You know, I don't have to just do one thing. I get to do a whole bunch of different things and not really be great at any of them. So it's an awesome job if you really get after it. But what I mean by that is, you know, if you don't know where to start and you have a complicated or even not so complicated problem, but you have no idea who to turn to, just call my office or stop in. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll do our best to help you if we're able to over the phone. And that's a promise. So take us up on it. You know, whether you're watching at home tonight or sitting in the room. Again, my name's Jay. I try to do my best to be as responsive and open as I can. I love what I do. I love the town of Harwich. I've only been here a short amount of time, but I'm from the Cape. I grew up here. I've lived here my whole life. Blessed to be in a position to manage this town, and look forward to getting to know people in this room. And I'm going to start crying again here. Apparently I should have got water. But that's a little bit about myself and my office. So now we're going to hear from the department heads. So the way that we're going to structure this tonight is each of the department heads I'm going to bring up is going to do a few minutes about who they are, their department, what their department oversees, and then we'll open it up to questions to that department head. So if you have a question for the fire department, as soon as he's done with his spiel, we'll open it up to questions directly to ask the chief right then and there. If one of the departments that you have a question for is not listed, we'll just take that up at the very end, or honestly, probably feel free to ask anytime, to be honest. So a pretty informal process. But we'll start with the fire department and Chief Dave LeBlanc. Yeah.
Whatever you prefer.
Good evening, David Blank, Fire Chief. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. With me is Deputy Justin White. As you're going to hear as I go through some of the description, Justin is a newly minted deputy. Last year when I was standing here, Craig Thornton was a deputy. Craig elected to use his option to retire, and we're thankful that he was able to. And last we talked to him, he was climbing a mountain in Acadian National Park, which I'm not sure he thought was a good idea. A little bit about myself. I started with the Harwich Fire Department in 1993 as a dispatcher. I was hired by Bob Peterson, God rest his soul, one of the greats that served this town, and I'm thrilled to be sitting in his office and carrying on his legacy as fire chief. Truly had some great mentors in my time, and he was one of them. But having started in that role, I've served in every rank, every position. I was a dispatcher. 2000, I was promoted to a firefighter. Became lieutenant in 2012, and 2008, captain in 12, and then deputy chief in 15. Norm Clark appointed me as his deputy when Kent Fahrenkopf went to Eastham, become the fire chief. And in 2020, I was thankful to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen to be the fire chief and continue to serve at their pleasure. Harwich is a great fire department. It has an amazing reputation on the Cape. Something that I desperately try every day to make sure I don't screw up. So that's my goal. A little bit about the department. There's 41 full-time personnel, 5 in administration, so chief, deputy chief, a fire prevention officer, and an EMS officer. And we have an administrative assistant who really carries all of the administrative work for the rest of us. She's on maternity leave, so we're finding out right now what that's really like. We did not hire a temporary, and Justin's doing payroll, I'm paying bills, and the rest of us are losing our mind.
Jen, make sure you're double checking her work.
Yeah. As Jen and I talk about frequently, as long as we get everybody paid correctly, we can fix everything else. But that means that the meat and potatoes, where the work gets done, is done by 36 individuals, 4 captains, 4 lieutenants, and 28 firefighters. About 16 of them, 15 or 16 of them are paramedics. Harwich provides an advanced life support ambulance service. We have 4 advanced life support ambulances. We run out of 2 stations. So before I go to that, I just real quick want to talk about the changes this department's gone through. So when I started in this department, the majority of the department lived in the 10 to 20 year mark, and it never seemed to move. It just kind of always shifted up. Somebody drop off, somebody would hire. By the time the next person retired, that person was at 8 or 9 years. Since last July, we replaced 7 people. 2 resigned, 5 retirements, new deputy chief, new captains, new lieutenants, tremendous changeover in the department. We've been lucky in that the pool of applicants that we saw post-COVID that kind of got really shallow and we were struggling to hire people out of it is now, we had 70 great applicants. We have currently 3 people that are working as provisionals. They're temporary employees. They just fill an open slot till somebody comes back. We've one person on military deployment, 1 person out line of duty injury, and then a bunch of, apparently babies were a thing this year. So we have a bunch of people out on maternity leave. So string those all together, and we have 3 people that are gonna be working through probably next April in a temporary capacity. I said there's 2 fire stations. The headquarters station, the new firehouse, as we talk about, was built in 1995. It was affectionately known as the house that Pete built, or Peterson's Cathedral. It was also dubbed one time. We run an engine and 2 ambulances, a ladder, and a mini pumper out of there. It's staffed. If everybody comes to work with 5 firefighters, 1's a captain, our minimum staffing is 8, so that would drop down to 4 firefighters and 1 captain. And then Station 2, where the rest of everybody lives, we have 2 engines, 2 ambulances, and we have a lieutenant and 3 firefighters out there. 8 people's not a lot when you start the day, when you consider we do close to 5,000 runs every year. Last year we did 3,675 medicals, 79 fires. That concludes house fires, brush fires, mutual aid, and both in town, and then about 1,100 other calls for service. 237 of those were mutual aid going out. 139 of those were mutual aid coming in. I did the stats today. Since 2020, our mutual aid has increased about 29%. And that's significant. I'll get to that in a second. And just to be in full transit, so is our outgoing. Our outgoing mutual aid's increased. Everybody's getting busier. The Cape is really populated, and everybody's really busy. The majority of that being EMS.
what we've seen is a transition that's happened to every other department around us, but it's really starting to affect us now and hadn't, is our ability to cover the station when the ambulance goes out. So when that ambulance goes out, goes to Hyannis, that's about a 2-hour window when those 3 people are no longer available to the town. We have overtime available to that. We have a robust overtime budget. We hire people back to cover the station. But through the fact that people have families and their wives work, and a variety of other reasons, that callback overtime has fallen off. So we're frequently not staffing the Station 2 firehouse when that ambulance is out and struggling to get extra people back to cover headquarters. My concern as a fire chief is that the third 911 call deserves the same level of response as the first 2, and the board's heard me say that before. We hired 4 people a couple of years ago because of that argument. So just because you were unfortunate to call the 3rd time doesn't mean you should get less of a response. 2-3 years ago, we would routinely staff all 4 ambulances. We struggle to get the 3rd one on the road these days. So it's just a shift we're going through. It'll be part of a discussion going forward of how we need to change our model. Our model's just changed lately because of life and reality. The last thing I want to touch on real quick, and then I'll stop talking, is we've really increased our efforts for training, and we had some great opportunities. A lot of the local builders will make houses that they're working on before they tear them down available to the fire department. Actually, Selectman Handler was generous enough to give us a house in West Harwich that we had some great training evolutions in. There's nothing like being able to work in a real house where you can mess it up and people don't really care. We can cut holes in the ceiling or flow water or do a bunch of things. So those opportunities we take advantage of whenever we get them. We're very lucky to get an opportunity to train at the Boston Fire Academy in their burn building. We brought all the shifts up there and did some live training. We're going to continue to do that. That's a relationship that we fostered and we're going to continue to grow. It's a little bit of a hassle because we have to drive 2 hours up and do it, but the training we get and the level of experience of their instructors is top notch, and it's only making our department better. So we're going to embrace that. And then finally, we continue to support sending our people to the Mass Fire Academy for whatever we can do that's more like certification training and professional growth. So we give everybody 24 hours a year of training to go do that, and that gets them fire officer certified and a bunch of other certifications. Captain Smith just came back. She's actually at the National Fire Academy doing the Chief Fire Officer program down there. So that's really been our focus. It's been my focus since I took over as chief and will continue to be going forward.
Thank you, Chief. I will open it up to any questions for the fire department. All right.
All right.
Did such a nice job, Chief. There are no questions. Thank you.
All right. Next up, and I'm probably going to get kicked for putting them second behind the fire department, we have Chief Kevin Considine, our police chief.
You won't get kicked, but there's a ticket on your car out
All
there.
right. Luckily, Jim's the hearing officer for the tickets, so.
So the running joke is the police score less on the test, so we become police officers, not firefighters, so they'll never let us down on that one. Good evening, everyone. Kevin Considine, Police Chief. It's a privilege to be here tonight. For those that don't know me, I'll introduce myself. Beginning my 3rd year here, starting July 2nd, as your police chief. I've been with the department for 30 years, starting in 1996 as a special police officer here in town. Over those 30 years, I have held every rank in the police department and many special units in the department, which I think has given me a great opportunity to learn about our residents and the concerns we all share for our great town. Background on the department, we currently have 35, from me down, 35 officers. That includes me, my deputy police chief, 2 lieutenants, 5 sergeants, and 26 patrol officers. In addition to that, we have 5 civilian dispatchers. We run our own dispatch center. Our civilian animal control officer is run out of our department. We have a records clerk and an executive assistant. And I will say, if she was ever out, I would hire a temporary. We also have 6 special police officers, reserve police officers, who are former retired officers who help us with traffic control details. We also, Cape-wide, and it's on the agenda tonight to be renewed, but all of our Cape Towns are members of the Regional Law Enforcement Council, which enables us to take advantage of many special units. And one thing unique about what we call Cape Cod is our ability to all work together. And that's not just our team here and my colleagues here, but it's also from our law enforcement perspective. So if we have a bad traffic accident, we have recon officers come in from all over the Cape to help us with that. If we have a SWAT incident, we have a regional SWAT team, of which I'm one of the control chiefs for. And we will have our SOTO operatives come in, and they're specially trained to deal with things like that. If we have a missing person, we work with the fire department, but we also have a search and rescue team. So we are so lucky to be on Cape Cod and have this regional approach just because of the way we set up with our towns on Cape Cod. Current staffing, I'm very happy to report. Over the last 2 years, we have really almost got to full strength on hiring. We have currently one position open, which I'm not filling until the fall, till we get out of the summer. And I'm so happy to say that not only do we have lateral police officers coming to the town of Harwich from other towns, we're not losing police officers in Harwich. They're very happy to work here. It's a great place to work. It's a great town to work, and that's really great for retention, and that can't be said for other towns on the Cape or in the Commonwealth. So I'm very fortunate to have such a great staff work with me. Calls for service. I often say that policing on Cape Cod is unlike policing anywhere else in the Commonwealth or anywhere in the country. I'll pretty much confidently say that. As the state phases out the ability for us to hire special officers, we no longer have the ability to supplement our patrol staff, our full-time patrol staff. We continue to handle the challenges that come with our summer population, which can nearly triple, while essentially dealing with the same amount of calls with the same amount of officers. So for calendar year 25, which was the full set of statistics that we handle a total of 15,577 calls for service. This summer, from June 1st to today, we handled 3,648 calls for service. That represents an increase of approximately 700 calls compared to the same time I was up here last year. So people often ask me, has the summer been busy? It's been extremely busy. Some notable calls, statistics from 25 include 57 assault calls, 13 burglary calls, 58 larceny calls, 98 total arrests, and 81 criminal summons issued. These numbers represent only a portion of the great work our officers handle and different types of calls our officers handle each day. And they also demonstrate the significant demands placed on our department throughout the year, not only in the summertime. For taxpayers, our upcoming projects, I always like to hit on these every year. For the next few years, we have a very number of important projects coming up. First, we will continue, and we have continued with the great support of our taxpayers in our town, our police cruiser replacement program. We look to replace cruisers every 3 years. We are fortunate to have a modern fleet of cruisers, along with current technology and equipment in our cars, and we intend to maintain that standard. We are also upgrading our dispatch radios and computers. Our current dispatch center was put into service when our building was attached to the fire department in 2009. And it is in desperate need of modernization. This project was approved at last year's town meeting, and now we're beginning that procurement process. Another important project is upgrading our in-house computer system to a cloud-based system, which is more secure. We can get rid of a server that we're having issues with. This project is being presented at the next town meeting for funding consideration. We've also been in discussions with the town and members of the department regarding the implementation of body-worn cameras. This will be a lengthy process that will require working with our unions in identifying appropriate funding sources. But it is an important conversation we must have. Issues of concern. Since becoming chief, or since my entire career here, when people ask me, maybe not from the Cape, or say, hey, what's the biggest issue that you have in town? It's quality of life issues, period. These include traffic, speeding, other activities that we've dealt with as Harwich Port Business District concerns, and increased activity at our popular beaches. For traffic and safety concerns, we have a dedicated officer assigned to our traffic division. He handles our traffic grant we receive each year, which allows us to add additional traffic enforcement patrols throughout the year that the state pays for under the grant, and other related traffic problems. We are proactive in addressing these concerns raised by neighbors, whether it's deploying our speed feedback signs or requests for extra radar patrols. Over the past 4 years, we have seen a significant increase in both our beaches and our Harwich Port Business District. While these areas are important to our community and our local economy, that increased activity can also create quality of life concerns, which we address. Each summer, we put a comprehensive plan in place to address these issues, and we continue to evaluate and address our plans each year. The hot topic this year, and I'd be surprised if I didn't get a question on this, so I'm going to address it, is electric bikes and motorized bikes. These electric bikes, or electric dirt bikes, if you will, have become a significant concern across the country over the last year, and we have seen the same here in Harwich. The police department has and will continue to enforce the current regulations in place. The state legislature is right now working on bolstering those laws. There's not much on the books right now, so the state legislatures are working on those to make them a little more, have a little more teeth to them. Prior to the summer, we held an informational session for parents to discuss laws surrounding these bikes as well as safety concerns they present. Our officers have stopped and towed illegal bikes from our roadways, and we have increased enforcement not only of the public roads but on our bike trails. The trail system in Harwich stretches for miles, and we are fortunate to receive assistance from the Department of Conservation and Recreation and the Massachusetts State Police. Yes, they have bicycles. Parents also play a significant role in preventing the improper and unsafe use of these bikes. Unfortunately, I've seen that responsibility is not always being met. We will continue to be proactive and address issues these bikes present to our community. And finally, I want to emphasize our largest program in the police department, and that is our community policing efforts. Our officers are connected to this community, and we offer numerous programs throughout the year to provide opportunities for our residents to interact and learn more about their police department. One of the programs is our Citizens Police Academy. If you happen to be here in the fall, it starts in September. I really encourage everybody to sign up for that great program. You'll learn how we operate and work with our officers and how our officers work each day with our community. Our department takes great pride in being part of this great town we call Harwich. We will continue to work hard to keep Harwich safe, address concerns you all may have, build strong relationships with everybody that comes into Harwich. If I or any of us can ever be of assistance, do not hesitate to reach out to the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions related to the police department?
Come right up. You got to talk into the mic.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to get up, otherwise they won't at home hear you.
Oh, that wouldn't be a loss. Marie Gunnarsson, 9 Bells Neck Road. I have 2 questions, and I can ask them and then you can answer. So one is, you mentioned one of your staff members is animal control, and is there only one? Because I've called for animal control a few times, and either on the weekend or off hours, and there's no one available. So I was asking about animal control and what we can do about that. Also, something you mentioned was an increase in the number of calls, and I was wondering, what's the nature of these? What's happening? What's causing this increase? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2 great questions. I'll address the animal control officer first. We do have one animal control officer, civilian animal control officer working out of our office. Yes, there's only one. However, unless it's an emergency, she can be called in off hours on overtime if we absolutely need her. We do rely on our police officers to For instance, if it's a barking dog complaint, our officers will go out, document, leave it for the animal control officer to follow up or deal with at a later time. So I encourage anybody, if they have any issues regarding dogs, people do call off hours. It seems like they call more off hours than they do on hours. So our police officers will deal with those complaints as much as they can. Jen, our animal control officer, does great work. She's the professional, so we'll try to leave as much to her, but yes, only one. As far as the increase in calls for service, a couple things driving that. The main thing is the summer population has increased, the year-round population has increased. We're dealing with a lot more traffic accidents, we're dealing with a lot more of quality of life complaints, whether that's noise complaints, resident noise complaints, traffic issues, doing more traffic radar patrols. So all that kind of adds up to the number of calls we have for service every year. A big driver of our calls for service year-round, with our year-round residents, we're dealing, and not only us, but everywhere, dealing with a lot of mental health issues. So those have seen a substantial increase in calls for service is response to mental health. But our biggest calls jump during the summer, just with what summer brings.
Any other questions for the chief?
Please.
My name is Bill Hawley. I'm a resident in Harwichport. Family's been there for 55 years as a taxpayer, and I want to thank the chief. I think the police department in Harwich has done a tremendous job, and they're really faced with tough challenges, as he's pointed out. The big stressor is the quality of life we all see, which has come with tremendous growth, which I have seen, everybody here has seen. Harwichport in particular is both for commerce, for tourism. It's all great, a lot of upside for it, a lot of money coming in. We all love that, but there's also sacrifices that occur. One of the issues that I am concerned about safety-wise, I raised last year, and you addressed it regarding the auxiliary officers, how there used to be, the summer police force. I saw something on the Harwich Old Timers talking about people reminiscing about it. I also understand, I guess the state cut the money off, or cut that program, so we're kind of stuck with it. I would suggest if there's any way you can reallocate funds to have more police for enforcement, not necessarily just for speeding, but for parking. It's a huge issue, particularly on Wednesday nights in Harwichport. It's a safety concern. People can't get in and out. I'm sure the fire chief, in terms of trying to get an ambulance up and down Pleasant Street or Miles Street or Cross Street or South Street, you can't do it. And there's elderly people there that frequently have calls. Last weekend, I saw a car get hit on Wednesday, right on the corner of Pleasant and Cross Street. People are parking right up to the stop sign. You can't get officers walking around. You don't have enough. I suggest if you can find a way to do that, that would be great. Maybe divert some of the resources from the study of, disposal of human waste in the atmosphere or space or something might be a starting place. No offense taken there, but let's really consider true quality of life priorities that matter to people that live here. Non-resident taxpayers have been paying their taxes here for years. We don't ask a lot of services. We're not sending the kids to school. We don't begrudge that. We enjoy Harwich. We enjoy the quality of life that's here. All we're asking is a little peace and quiet, little safety, and that's really it. And in terms of the peace and quiet, you got your arms full with the corners, East Street and 28. We know who the egregious offenders are there, and we wish you more enforcement, and you guys, too, are working hard on that process. We're all living with it together. We wish the town well, and thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else for Chief Considine? Please.
My name is John Schiller, and I live at 12 Squantum Path. I'm curious, to what extent have you been called on, or has the police department been called on, for support of any ICE activities that have been happening on the Cape? Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's been a hot topic. It's not on my sheet here because we haven't. I'm part of the MLK Action Group meetings with our, from Harwich to Eastham. That's all the chiefs from that community, members of church groups, minority communities. We all meet once a month to discuss major issues such as this. Now cameras are a huge topic. I've been chief for 2 years. I've been here for a long time. We have not assisted ICE. There's a lot of discussion surrounding that, not only here, but other towns. There hasn't been a lot of ICE activity in town that I know of. What I have asked is that they at least come into the department and let us know when they're in town. 2 reasons I need to know for a question like this. Second is deconflict anything that if we get a call of somebody being kidnapped, that has happened on the Cape, right? Somebody's being kidnapped. The police have no clue what's going on. We'll show up ready to go to deal with it, and we just don't want to, we need to know that it's law enforcement and nothing else. So Harwich has not seen any ICE activity as of late. I would say it's been over a year. If they come in, alls I ask is that they let us know where they are, and I've directed my people that we will just listen to them where they're at, we'll document it, we do not assist, and we do not get involved in what it is, it's civil process for the federal government. It's nothing to do with Massachusetts criminal law, hence we don't really deal with civil stuff, and we don't deal with federal stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Anything else for the chief? Looks like we're good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have a very important position in the town of Harwich. I'm sure a lot of you know him for even in a short time over the last few years. We have our harbor master, John Harker. John is in charge of, well, I'm sure he'll go into it, but everything water related in the town of Harwich.
Yes, good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for making the time to come out and give us the opportunity to talk to you. A lot of times we try to get into the community on the streets at the harbors, in my case, but this is a great opportunity for us to connect. So, John Harker, I've been the harbor master since March of 2025. I'm a retired Coast Guard Chief Warrant Officer, 22 years. Primarily did all of my work in New England. I did do, volunteered 1 year to go to the Northern Arabian Gulf and Bahrain in 2006. But besides that, I was stomping around Cape Cod and getting to know all the partners and understanding the culture down here. And I'm a New England brat as well. I did wait patiently for this position to open. Harbor master jobs usually come open every 10 to 15 years. If I'm correct, Harwich has only had 3 harbor masters. The first one was in position for over 30 years. The last one was about 13. John Rendon, a good friend of mine, and I, again, patiently waited as I was eyeing this job for like the last 10 years when I first was introduced to the beautiful harbor in 2010, servicing the buoys. So with that being said, I did put some flyers out back if you'd like to grab them with some more information that I'll cover briefly here. It'll be more in detail, and then I invite you, of course, to come down to the harbor, come into the office, and come see us and our staff. And with that, our staff, we are not as robust as the police and fire department. There's 4 of us. So there's a harbor master, myself, John Harker. We have a deputy, Andrew Souza, assistant harbor master, James Adamson, and then Michelle Morris is our waterway specialist and our administrative assistant. So just the 4 of us, and our area of responsibility, if you think about it, starts in West Harwich. In West Harwich, we have the Herring River. We continue across the coast. We did then have all the area of responsibility in the Sound. We have Allen Harbor, Witchmere Harbor, Saquatucket Harbor. To the northeast, we split Pleasant Bay with Chatham and Orleans. We have Round Cove within there. And then back to the west and to the north, we have the ponds that we're responsible for, particularly Long Pond. In those ponds, in those areas, in Pleasant Bay, we have a vessel. Long Pond, we have a vessel. And then we have 2 vessels in Saquatucket to support those missions. We also manage over 230 slips and just under 600 moorings throughout the town. We also supervise dredging in our harbors and waterways and inlets. This year alone, we dredged nearly 15,000 cubic yards in Allen Harbor, Witchmere Harbor, and Saquatucket Harbor inlets and channels. And we also maintain the Shellfish Laboratory, and we assist the Department of Natural Resource Officer with shellfish propagation and water testing throughout Harwich. And we, of course, work very closely with the police and fire department in our interagency training and operability to pretty much offer the greatest amount of operational readiness and response to Harwich waters with those partners. Our upcoming capital project plans, so for this year, we have the Herring River boat ramps going to be replaced. That's in dire need. That's again all the way over in West Harwich. We're proposing for next year, for fiscal year 28, to have the Saquatucket bulkhead repaired to extend its life another 10 years. And then in 29, we're looking at having the Allen Harbor jetty repaired. If you've gone by there by boat, it's in dismal state, and have that repaired in 2029. That's our proposed capital items. We have a wonderful group of commercial fishermen and businesses within our harbors that I'd love for you to see and enjoy at some point. We have charter vessels, we have seal cruises and harbor cruises, along with some wonderful restaurants located in the harbor and adjacent to the harbor. And if you are a fan of any type of wicked tuna shows or anything like that, come on down to the harbor. It's commercial tuna time. At 5:30 when I came up here, we had 19 tuna landed today alone. And some days we have up to 40 on the commercial fishing days, ranging from 70 inches to 100. So really cool thing to see if you have a chance. All types of opportunities and things to see within our harbors. Come down. I encourage you, if you haven't explored or been a part of the Harwich waterways, please do. And that's it.
Questions? I think we're good. Great presentation, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So next up, we had our golf department. Unfortunately, Roman came a little under the weather a little bit earlier and had to head home. So I'll take any questions related to the golf course, but what I'd like to just give is a plug to Cranberry Valley. Roman Greer is our director of golf there, Dick Fagan, our PGA professional, and Sean Fernandez, our golf course superintendent, do a tremendous job for the town of Harwich. I can tell you I'm an active golfer, an avid golfer, and we really have something to be proud of in Cranberry Valley in the town of Harwich. For a municipal golf course, it is literally like a private club, and they do, I think, 44,000 rounds a year over there. That is top 5 in the state for the number of rounds that's put out by any golf course in Massachusetts, and their conditions are phenomenal. So whether it's the junior program they run, the Learn to Play programs, or the leagues that they offer, I would highly recommend that anybody that doesn't take advantage of that asset of the town. It's really a crown jewel that we have. So sorry that Roman's not here to give that feedback directly. He did put together a flyer that's on the back table with some more information about it. But if anyone has any questions golf related, happy to try to answer them.
Sorry, hopefully you may or may not know the answer. Paul Butler, 50 Nines Road. How often does the town look at charging a little more money for people, I can't call them non-residents, but people that live in town to people that live outside of town? Because it seems like the disparity is very narrow, and I don't know if you know about how many people are members that do not live in Harwich, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know the number. I don't know the second part of your question, but I do know the first part. So the select board appoints a golf committee that looks at this on an annual basis, and every year one of the things that they discuss is rates, and specifically relates to capital planning in the future. So they've taken a portion of the membership that they sell and taken that money through Jen and squirreled it into capital accounts so that we're able to pay for capital in the future. So when they focus their attention on rate increases, most of the time it's focused on upcoming potential capital projects. But I don't know when they look at that, whether they look at how much they can increase the split between the resident and non-resident, but I'll bring that up to Roman. I'm sure they do, but I'll bring it up to him as well.
Love to
But
hear,
I'd play.
love to hear your recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, who said that?
No, yeah.
Mr. Hand, I have to say, you're a much better golfer than I am. I just recently experienced that. Hits about like 320 yards. It's insane. My recommendation would be at least 50% higher. Supply and demand in town is very difficult. I know a lot of people that are members of Cranberry Valley, and I feel like their access is incredibly limited. And I guess there's a special deal with Chatham, which you don't need to get into tonight, but I guess I should just look into that on my own, one-on-one with someone in town. But
Yeah, and I can tell you, I'm a member of Hyannis because I live in that part of the Cape, and the split's similar, but I think it is a little bit more aggressive in Barnstable than it is here, so we can bring that, I'll bring that up to Roman.
Anything else for golf? How is it playing out of the woods?
I'm very used to it. I'm very used to it. All right, next up, we're going to move on to our recreation department. You had a little taste of that earlier with the lifeguard presentation that we gave, but obviously recreation is a huge part of what we do in Harwich, whether it's year-round or focused in the summer. So we have one of our lead employees in the recreation department, John Losey, our head program specialist, here to give an overview on recreation and then answer any questions.
Hello, and it's a pleasure to be here. So yes, my name is John Losey. I am the current program specialist for the town of Harwich. A little bit about my background is I have a degree in sports management from the University of Florida. I am a certified Parks and Recreation professional for the National Parks and Recreation Association, in addition to being an American Red Cross certified lifeguard and first aid instructor. So what that really all means is that I have a fluent background on the industry standards and what it takes to run a municipal rec department. I actually started out for the town as an after-school counselor, so from the factory floor up to the management office, which you don't see too much anymore. I was the assistant recreation manager at Chatham Bars Inn before this, and I started out working out, just picking up some extra time with the after-school department, and then someone retired, and I stepped into the program specialist role. That was about 2.5 years ago, which brings us to where we are now. But for a municipal parks and rec department, the three areas that we kind of cover are your programs, your parks, and your facilities. So what that looks like for Harwich is our parks is our flagship is definitely Brooks Park, right on the center there of Oak Street and Main Street. Our facilities include the fields behind the community center known as the Veterans Memorial Sports Complex, senior and memorial Potter softball fields, of course Brooks Park, and everything that goes into Brooks Park. So the baseball fields, the pickleball courts, the tennis courts, the playgrounds, some of our main areas. Facilities also include our beaches, which are obviously very popular this time of year. We put lifeguards at Red River, Earl, Bank Street, Pleasant Street, in addition to Long Pond. Excuse me. Our programs, so particularly focus more on youth programs, but we offer everything. We have an adult basketball league. We have pickleball, which is obviously a lot very popular with a little bit of the older demographic. We also have senior walking programs and sit-fit classes. So we cover everyone from toddlers all the way up to senior adults in there, and then a few of our other programs to highlight. So coming up in the fall, we'll have youth soccer for pre-K all the way through 6th grade, in addition to, like I mentioned earlier, our adult basketball program. And it's also really cool that we host the Cape Cod, the Harwich Mariners, part of the Cape Cod Baseball League, who are playing right now, for those of you that are tuned in. East Division champions, looking to make their back-to-back championships. That's over at White House Field, right behind Monomoy High School. We operate out of the Harwich Community Center, located on 100 Oak Street, so just up the street. And then we also utilize the 204 gymnasium for additional youth programming over there. Come some other things, our operations expand mightily in the summer, just like we talked about population tripling. We go from year-round, it is typically a director, a program specialist, full-time, a part-time specialist, and then an executive assistant. And then we have a couple, 4 or 5 part-time after-school counselors, and then people kind of move throughout the year with our program. So I have a couple people that help with soccer, and then they help with basketball, and they'll help with t-ball and such. So all around, maybe about 20 part-time employees going through the year-round with kind of 2.5 full-time employees there in the office, but in the summer we get up to 70 employees. So that includes 35 lifeguards, five beach supervisors, 10 to 12 parking staff in attendance. And this year we were happy to move our summer camp program over to Harwich Elementary School to have 18 counselors. We were able to double the number of kids that we were able to take in our summer program, which is really great because affordable childcare, when we put that out in a survey, was a almost 10 out of 10 rating in terms of where that ranks of importance for our residents. So we were super happy to be able to do that. I'm currently running that, the day-to-day of that myself, which is also why I'm in shorts this evening. Wrap that up. From a capital perspective, some big projects we have are the shade structure going in behind the Harwich Community Center. So that's going to really help utilize or enhance the experience for everyone that comes to a lot of the big events that go on behind the community center. The Cranberry Festival, we have some large soccer tournaments that go on there. Of course, all of our other in-house programs, like I mentioned, soccer, t-ball, and then, of course, the senior softball league that's very popular back there as well. So the stage structure is going to be really nice. We've got some irrigation systems going in to help maintain the facilities that we already have. Of course, space and land is a luxury out here. So we're kind of right now making sure that we're able to maintain the facilities that we do have versus expanding into getting some more things. And then we're also looking into at a potential splash pad project, which would be a nice, affordable programming option for those of you that don't know what that is. It's kind of like a concrete structure with a base, and it shoots up water from the outside to help make a nice, safe, family, welcoming environment as opposed to the beach. We can be a little bit more crowded. Community center, it's a separate location, but that project is just coming up in the works. Something we're hoping to move forward with our CPC funds. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the Harbor Master's office. We talked about swim buoys when we were doing the lifeguard recognition earlier. So the swim buoys are out at the beaches. The Harbor Master's office is responsible for putting those out there. What that does is it marks the difference in the swim zone between where the public is able to swim versus where the ships and boats, particularly steel cruises, aren't allowed to come into. So I wanted to give the Harbor Master, I'm not sure if John's still here, a quick shout out for them being able to get those in for us. Because if they hadn't put those swim buoys in, there's no telling how far that individual might have swam out. And they're also very important markers for the lifeguards. So we don't allow people to swim out past those buoys for their own safety. Super important. And then we also have the jetties that kind of mark the swim zone. So if you're ever at the beach wondering, what exactly are the lifeguards looking for, it goes from swim buoy, typically from jetty to jetty, or there's lines marking where the private beach ends. Of course, if someone was experiencing distress in the private beach, while we don't have a legal obligation to attend to the wholeheartedness of a lifeguard, we would obviously go over there and help that particular individual. So that's kind of the scope of responsibility. In addition to, we do issue the parking tickets for the beach, which I believe some people addressed earlier in terms of it's really important that, we don't just issue parking tickets to issue parking tickets, particularly in the summer. It's very important that cars parked illegally can't be there because they have to get an ambulance in and out. So that's obviously a top priority for us in the summer. It's been that way. And then actually this week we'll start to lose some of our staff. Typically for most Cape towns, they all start to go back to college around this time of year. So you'll see a few less lifeguards at the beaches as we kind of progress into later weeks of August. That's actually something we've tried to address. Just a couple of weeks ago at a select board meeting, we were able to help get our raises put through to pay the lifeguards a little bit more. Just about every Cape town and probably every department in the country struggles to find lifeguards because it is a tough find in terms of, particularly for us, because we do beaches, not just pools. So the swim test for that is 550 yards. And then, of course, on the Cape, the seasonal and the tip positions become a little bit more competitive when you're looking at that versus an hourly rate position. So that's been a top priority for us. The select board was very generous and able to get us those rates, something that we had within our budget. And then we're going to continue to be able to recruit more lifeguards to help keep the beaches safe, which is, of course, the Cape. And I think Harwich is one of top assets. People like to come here for the beaches, and we take a big role. I like to think of us as the fun department because, we do the youth programs. We have, we pass out snow cones over the stroll on Wednesday nights. But then another part of our job, we're wearing lots of different hats. And then we do administer first aid a lot. So we've got a wide scope of responsibility for the rec department, but you can think of us in terms of if you want to rent an outdoor facility, one of the fields, you can come to us for that. Some of the interior buildings goes through rooms and such goes through the community center, or if you're looking to get your pickleball membership or sign your grandkids up for swim lessons, those are all things that we take in-house.
All right, any questions for the rec? Please.
Marie Gunnarsson, 9 Bells Neck Road again. I guess I forgot my bona fides have been here since 1989. So I have 2 questions. One regarding the Pleasant Road Beach, the lifeguard towers. I know several years ago, one was lost and it was never replaced. And I'm wondering if there's ever, it doesn't look like there's going to be, but compared to some of the other beaches, Pleasant Road Beach, although it's not deep, is quite wide. And with one tower, you wonder what the coverage is. So if you go down towards the private beach, and that's where you're sitting because it's a bit quieter, the lifeguard is quite a ways away. And earlier we were talking about the lifeguard making a rescue by in the private beach area of Red River. So I am concerned about the coverage when we lost the 2 towers and just have one. And the other, and I know this will be controversial because some people here probably enjoy them, but it is in the news in other towns and other beaches, and that's the tents. Is a town addressing in any way the tents, the growing tents, apartments on the beach? Like today I was at Pleasant Road Beach, and people had 3 of them strung together, and then they're setting them up and they're sitting outside of them, so taking quite a bit of beach space and then making it difficult for people to see or get around them. So those were my questions. Thank you. Ooh. Just about broken.
Yeah, so the first question being in regards to the Pleasant Street lifeguard stands. I am aware of that. I wasn't here when the decision went from 2 stands down to just 1, but I can tell you we do try and at least close to meeting the American Red Cross standard of being able to reach a patron in the water that's in your swim zone within 30 seconds. So that's how you come up with where your stands are and where they should be, is whether or not the lifeguards in that stand can reach an individual all the way in the back corner of that swim zone within 30 seconds. And it is to my knowledge at this moment we are able to meet that standard, although I would agree with you that we could certainly, if we are having just 1 stand, that it could be shifted further to the right at some point. That would make it a lot more closer to the middle of where the zone is.
I'm sorry, some of our other beaches are narrower and they have the 2 stands, so we just, thank you.
And yes, the second part on the tents, yes. Any structure, I believe it's larger than 10 by 10, would need a permit from the building department. We typically don't issue, at least we issue the beach event permits, which gives them the right to be there, and there's a list of things that they have to follow in order to get that permit. Most of those are issued after hours. I take it you're referring to ones that happen during the day, because we have staff there from 9 to 4:30.
Things that people buy, some of them are getting quite large.
I'm not sure as to any particular town policy that limits anyone's ability to put them up, other than the 10 by 10, and you need a special permit from the building department to do so. In terms of beach space, it's typically pretty consistent across Cape Towns. It is a first come, first served basis in terms of who gets what space, where, and when. We do try to make sure that those tents are secured safely. The cool cabanas, if you're familiar with that brand, are a much safer option than umbrellas, because particularly on the Cape where things get windy, they can go up and cause injuries. So we kind of encourage the cool bandit tents. I haven't been aware of any situations of people like tying certain ones together, but if that happens again, you can please bring that to our attention, because we do take people's tents that they do set up into our considerations for safety down at the beach.
We also have a rec commission that John works with and Jim works with that we could bring topics like that up to for consideration.
Anything else for the rec director?
All right.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
Sean. So next up, we have Link Hooper, who's here representing the Department of Public Works to discuss public works projects in town and his department.
We put that chair over there for you, Link.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Link Cooper, DPW Director. Last week, I gave the town administrator my notice to retire this coming winter. And The second line of that notice, I'd just like to repeat to you that working for the town of Harwich as its DPW director has been one of the greatest privileges and responsibilities that I have, only behind that of being a father and a husband. And I sincerely mean that. I'm going to get choked up here.
Well, Link, I'll interrupt you briefly so you can collect yourself, but we are very grateful that you chose to work for the town of Harwich, and we're a better community because of it, so thank you.
Thank you.
We're also very grateful that you gave us an extended period of time, 6 months, to be able to help us fill the transition and deal with that, Link. I know that 6 months will go by fast, but, we needed that extra time, and you graciously gave us that, so thank you as well.
So I started working for the town essentially a year after I got out of the service. 24 years old, and January 3rd of 1991. As a heavy equipment operator, trailer driver at the dump, hauling trash. And it was a dump back then. It really was. We used to bury stuff, if you might remember. I applied for the director job twice and got turned down. Not wanting it to leave it to chance, I went back to school and got a BSBA and an MPA from Suffolk University. And then all the cards aligned, and I became director in 2003. Hasn't always been seamless, but I've been fortunate enough to surround myself by some very good people, some very good division leaders and staff members that I'd like to think put the residents and the taxpayers of Harwich first every single day, and try to do their best for everyone here. I've been one of those guys didn't want to come up to the podium, although we ought to make them. Sean Libby, he was our facilities manager for about 12 years. Another military man with a very distinguished 30-year naval career. And I tried to get him promoted for the last couple of years, and last fall it came together, and we were able to create a deputy director position. The DPW actually consists of 7 different divisions. I'm going to put some glasses on so I can read some notes at the moment. Didn't have to do that back in the day. 'Cause we have the highway, disposal, parks, cemetery, facilities maintenance, vehicle maintenance, and custodial services. Quite frankly, we touch everyone's lives. When you drove here tonight, you drove on a road that we're responsible for to maintain. You're sitting in a building that we have responsibility to maintain its mechanical systems as well as its cleanliness. When you go to the beach, we clean those beaches before anybody gets there every day. When you go to the parks that you enjoy, those get mowed, by us. When you go to the cemeteries and visit loved ones, the people that are doing the maintenance is the DPW umbrella. So we literally touch everyone's lives here. And I feel that is, an honor, and it can be a chore sometimes. Most of all, I'd like to convey that we're here for you. We're here to provide service to the town, to the residents and taxpayers of the town, and I take that responsibility seriously, as I do hope my staff does. And if you ever have anything that you need, please feel free to call my office anytime. You report everything from a pothole or, need a street sweeper, whatever the case may be. That is the quickest way to get service from us. Obviously, we answer our emails, but you call, work order goes into the system, and miraculously, things get done. Town has 22 town-owned beaches. Of those, I think we get 5 that get weekly service of cleaning: Red River Beach, Pleasant Beach, Earl Road Beach, Bank Street, and Brooks Beach. With Red River getting probably twice a week. And it always depends upon the weather, how much seaweed we're getting, that sort of thing. Trash pickup, 88 cans deployed at 38 different locations during the season, which is essentially, although the season feels like it's getting longer and longer every year, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And that's 7 days a week, twice on the weekends, and that is done with in-house staff. That is contracted. The footprint of the cans are contracted after, after the summer ends. But we still end up picking up trash once or twice a week, depending on the load, all year round. So many locations are picked up on the public restrooms. We have 11 public restrooms. And although we outsource the cleaning of that, that doesn't mean there isn't a fair amount of responsibility that goes on our part to make sure that it's being done to our standards. Disposal area. We take the town's MSW, C&D, and recycling. All of that is hauled off Cape by in-house staff. I'd like to think very efficiently. And that is open 7 days a week. We're only closed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. So, that's where I cut my teeth, and I'd like to think we've kept the customer service up as high as it can be at that facility for a very long time. The road work. Generally, we don't allow road work in the summer. We have made exceptions because of all the sewering going on off of main roads. So you might know on Queen Anne Road, they just started the Great Sand Lakes project. We're allowing the contractors to work on the side roads, and then they'll get it back into the main roads. East Harwich, same thing, Pleasant Bay Road, although we did get a skim coat down on Pleasant Bay Road, which was sorely needed. Thank you very much, Mr. Administrator. We're doing our best to balance the needs of the community under busy circumstances with the needs to meet deadlines to get these projects done. One big project we have in the queue is the resurfacing of Great Western Road from the Dennistown line all the way to Sisson out here. It's actually Main Street, a little small portion of Main Street, Kelly Street back in the day. That project is in excess of $2 million for one road. The cost of things, particularly since COVID, is almost inconceivable. I used to be very proud of the conditions of our roads, as DPW directors are usually judged by the condition of the roads. We had to take a hiatus because the first couple phases of the sewer project didn't include the installation of drainage systems to take care of your runoff, your road runoff from rain. So we had to put our road maintenance, which is what you see when you drive a brand new road, we had to put that on hold for 4 to 5 years. We are just getting back on track with that and starting with one of the longest ones in town. I believe that's almost 2.5 miles worth of road that is in desperate need. There are a couple more main roads and they're in the queue. We want to start with that. We had to put all of our money essentially into the ground that nobody sees. The reason we did that was because the last thing you want to do is have sewer go in and have a brand new road only to have to dig it up after the fact because no one replaced this old antiquated failing block basin. So we took the time to figure out that, and the way we funded that was to forfeit our 5-year road maintenance plan, which is back on track. And with that, that concludes my formal remarks, and thank you for your patience.
Thanks, Link. Any questions for the Highway Department? Oh, go ahead.
Again, John Schiller, 12 Squantum Path. I have a couple of questions. As a non-resident taxpayer, I'm living on a dirt road. I've got more potholes than I think many of the streets that are paved around town. Is there any support or service available for a private dirt road that's available to me? I know I just paid out of my own pocket $1,600 to have a bunch of potholes filled, but that's, that cost me. So that's the first question. The second question is, during the winter storms, I guess things were beat up pretty badly. When we came back from, my wife and I live in Pittsburgh the other half of the year. When we came back to the Cape, we found that there was no street sign at one end of our street. And we did some investigation and we're told that a private road only gets one street sign once a lifetime, and that I'd need to go pay for having another street sign put up. So are any of these things available to me? Can I get some help? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I live in another town, and I too live on a private road where me and my neighbors are responsible for the maintenance. I did not dream the current policy up when I was first appointed director. One of the Board of Selectmen requested that we draft a private road snow policy, which we did, where we go out and inspect the roads to a minimal standard, not a subdivision standard, and as long as they meet the criteria, they will receive snow and ice services from the town. If they do not meet the criteria, then they do not receive services. Unfortunately, private roads are private property. The only reason we're able to provide services is Mass General Law allows municipalities to do so without incurring liability. When we first started, we did everything. There's some towns like Orleans that doesn't do any private roads whatsoever. I'd like to think that we've got this private road inspection policy that we try to get done in September, sometimes October, down pat, and that people have plenty of notice whether they're going to receive services or not. Anytime people fix their roads, we will go out and inspect anytime. A call to my office, we'll get an inspection. That doesn't help repair it. Again, we can't allocate public funds towards private property. And the same applies for the street sign. When we first enacted the policy in, I think I asked me, you know what, that might be 2006. In 2006, they said, make everybody whole once. We're going to do this for one last year, and then the policy's going to stand. And the street signs are, we replaced one. We have a vendor in which a resident can call. We put them in touch with the vendor. They order the sign gets shipped to our office, and we will go install the sign on their behalf. We simply do not purchase them. I look at the street sign as a criteria of receiving service no differently than I would the condition of the road itself. Hope I answered your questions. Not to your satisfaction, but I hope I answered them.
Denise Schiller, 12 Squantum Path. Not replacing a sign telling you what the street is a danger, because if an ambulance or something is trying to come to your house, you can't identify the street. So that's a common, that is like a basic necessity to have your street identified. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and obviously, this is something that, as Link stated, there's a policy out there, and it's certainly something this board can take a look at to see if adjustments or amendments can be made. I'm not sure if 06 was the last time it was reviewed, so, but nonetheless.
That's when we enacted the policy.
Right, no, agreed. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if we have reviewed it since, but either way, we can certainly take a look, and the town administrator can follow up with you folks in the near future. Anything else for the highway?
I just got demoted. Highway only?
All right, next up, we have Jason Trepanier, the Water and Wastewater Superintendent. Jason, you want to join us? So Jason's responsibility includes oversight of the water department and sewer in Harwich. Now, one very important thing to mention here is the installation of sewer, the planning of sewer, where we're going next with sewer, how much sewer costs, the cost of your hookup. None of that is borne by Jason and his department. That is this board right here in my office's responsibility. So if you're unhappy and frustrated about sewer coming to your neighborhood, not coming to your neighborhood, None of that is Jason's responsibility. Jason's responsibility, the water and wastewater superintendent and the board that he reports to, they deal with sewer as soon as the sewer starts flowing out of your house to a collection facility and you're paying a sewer bill. That's it on the water on the water side. If you're mad about water, have at 'em.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We have a great relationship, building it, running it. It's a lot of fun. Usually the calls come into me and we distribute them to whoever needs to, wherever your answer is going to get answered, we make sure that happens. The water department is and wastewater department. The wastewater department is growing. We have right now about 393 hookups in phase 2. And I know a little bit about this, so phase 3 is ongoing into construction. And phase 3A, that's in the progress and also into construction. As you can see, all the construction that's around town. And there's gonna be a little bit more, and I'll touch on that when we do Route 28. So we're gonna be doing 2.5 miles of 12-inch water main that's gonna be starting at the Dennis line, and that's going to be going all the way to South Street just before Harwich Port. So that is gonna be a tremendous amount of work that we have about 2 years to do it in. We're gonna be doing a directional drill underneath the Heron River. So we have about 600 feet of 12-inch water main that's gonna be directional drilled underneath the Heron River. And we have a Mass DOT project that's happening, that's doing, I might as well talk about it now, I already am. So Route 28. Mass DOT project is phase 1. So that is gonna go from the Heron River, that's gonna go all the way to the Dennis line. That is the Mass DOT portion of it. We are in talks with them. We bought all the materials, they're installing it. They're also doing dry sewer down there. And they're gonna be paving that road, they're gonna be putting sidewalks on that road. The Harwich Water Department portion of it, we have 2 miles to do. We're gonna be directional drilling underneath the Heron River. From there, we're gonna be installing 12-inch water main all the way down to South Street. And you're gonna get, is also, with that water main, you're gonna get new services to your curb stop. So from the water main to the shutoff right at your house, that's all gonna be new. And that, the water department is paying for all of that, so. Now, the water department does a wide variety of services. We do seasonal turn on and turn off, so people, if you're seasonal, you want your water turned off, you winterize your house, we come out there, we shut the water off, we drop the meter, and next year you call us up, and we go out there, turn it on, install the meter back for you. This is a great service. What's happening is we get a lot of people that are coming in that are saying, my pipes in my house broke, or the heat, something happened. We offer this service, so please give us a call if you know that you're not gonna be in your house. It's a great way to save property in anything, so. We also go out, we do backflow inspections, we do utility markouts. We do final reading for your transfers with your realtors. In 2025, we did over 2,600 work orders to go out and just do a number of different things. It could be from service leaks, it could be hydrant repairs, it could be somebody hitting a hydrant, a water main break, backflow inspections, final reads. Somebody's having a problem with their meter, and we have to go out there and we have to, or maybe a frozen meter that broke. So we do a number of different things out in the system. Within that, we have 14 pumping stations that pump water. We have 5 treatment facilities. We have 3 water storage tanks. All of those, the treatment facilities and the pumping stations, those have to be inspected every day. We have to do reports, we have to send them to DEP. There's a great deal of work that goes into this. We have about 16 personnel. 16, and we have 13 that are out in the field. So we do leak detection. Sometimes when you're driving down the road, you'll see something on top of a hydrant. That's usually the gate box cover. So what we do is we take that gate box cover out, we'll put it on top of the hydrant so it doesn't get lost. And fire department comes, they need it, they just throw it off. It's okay. What we do is we put a leak detection monitor on that gate that's down there. You'll probably see a red gate box cover. And within that, that's doing leak detection. That sends all that up into the cloud. And we're monitoring that through our computer operated system. So we get all that data, and if we see that there's somewhere that there's a leak out in the system, we'll go out there and we'll correlate it to see where that leak is. Or we'll have some earmuffs and we'll try and find that leak. So far, town of Harwich has a really, really tight system. So far we found, I think, only 2 leaks, and we've done half the town. That's over 100 and probably about 60 to 70 miles of water main that we're doing. So we're constantly out there looking for leaks and trying to find them and repair them, because it costs money. Pumps run and it goes into the ground, that costs money. We don't want that. We have there is a water restriction. I think everybody knows that, and I hope everybody knows that. That is in our water management permit. So within that management permit, we basically look at what's called the Brewster monitoring well through the state of Massachusetts. It's BMW 22. It's located over in Brewster. We monitor that. When that falls below a certain point, it automatically triggers a water restriction within the town. Then within the state, they also trigger a water restriction that's in the town, and that we have to do it. And everybody's like, well, you know, why? Why can't we water this? We have plenty of water. That is not the department just saying shut everything off. That is the department saying this is what the state is mandating, and please conserve everyone. So that's a big part of what we do also. So our daily demand, and this is just to get everybody thinking about how much water we pump. Our daily demand in the off season is about 1 million gallons a day. So that is in the winter months. Everybody's home doing their thing, washing clothes, everything. Once I'm going to say it starts ramping up, and once June hits, it starts going to about 5 million gallons a day. July, 4th of July, you're talking probably about 7.5 million gallons a day. And it will vary depending on rainfall throughout the year, but that won't start going down until September. And this has been a very dry year. And to give everybody an idea, last year we pumped 785 million gallons of water. That's what we pumped. About the department, we have a great department. We have a lot of great people that work there. They've been working there for some of them over 20 years. And a little about myself. I grew up in the town of Bourne. I started working in the town of Bourne. I've just about done everything you can do out in the water field. I've tapped water mains, I've read water meters, installed water meters, and I actually came and worked for Harwich in 2001. My career took another path, and I was water superintendent somewhere else. When this job came up, I knew it was a great department, a great town, and I wanted to come back, and I wanted to work for the town of Harwich, and they hired me. So I'm working on my 3rd year now, coming into my 3rd year, and I am very blessed to do that. And it's a great town. It's a great department. A lot of dedicated employees all over town. So.
Thank you, Jay.
We'll open it up for questions. Anything for Water Superintendent?
And I got one more thing to say. Announcement, anyways. On August 20th, I put some brochures over there. Ann is holding them up. I have some, August 20th, we're having a public outreach on Route 28. It's at 6 o'clock, and it's in this room here. I'm going to have a lot more details of what's going on, where the contractor is starting, where he is, his whole schedule. I'm hoping that he has that. We're meeting with them on a construction meeting on the 18th, and he's supposed to give us all of that, so knock on wood, he'll have that ready for us. And when the Heron River, when we directional drill that, that's gonna be, it's a really cool thing. They're starting on one side, a directional drill underneath, they're coming up in the boat ramp. So we want to be out of that boat ramp before they redo it. And we will be. It's already in the contract, so it will be. And also the water main installation on Route 28, they're not allowed to work in the summer months on Route 28. So if everybody's thinking there's going to be a ton of traffic there, we're not allowed to work during the summer months on Route 28. So.
Thank you, Jay.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
All right. And last but not least, a jewel for the town of Harwich, Director of the Brooks Free Library, Mark Ziamek. And while Mark is on his way up, since this is our last item tonight in the non-resident taxpayer, one thing I forgot to mention that I really want to highlight is we started a new Town of Harwich newsletter a few months ago called the Harwich Current. There's paper copies of it outside, but it's primarily a digital newsletter that we put out monthly. The best way to receive it is just go on the Town of Harwich website and sign up for news and announcements, and you'll get it on a monthly basis. Lots of cool things we're doing with that newsletter. Best way when you're not in Harwich to hear about what's going on with Harwich is to subscribe to that, and also to the Town of Harwich Facebook page as well. So with that, Mark.
Thanks, Jay. Hi, everyone. I started work as library director in April when I succeeded longtime director Ginny Hewitt, who retired in March. Prior to moving to the Cape in 2019, my library career was spent in federal libraries in Washington, D.C., including the Library of Congress, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and the National Library of Medicine. I started my career as a library page at the North Amherst Public Library in Western Mass, so I've come full circle and across the state with my new position here in Harwich. Over the last few months, I've come to understand how important the Brooks Free Library is to the Harwich community, and I'm thankful to have a dedicated staff who bring energy and enthusiasm to their work every day. They are each committed to providing the best possible service to you. My job is made easier by a supportive and engaged Board of Trustees, and I'm looking forward to working with them in the months and years ahead. If you're a regular library visitor, you already know that we offer books in all formats, including large print, ebooks, and audiobooks, DVDs, newspapers and magazines, and a variety of online resources. You can also request and reserve books through the CLAMS network of 38 libraries on the Cape and the islands. Your library card can be used to take out mobile hotspots, borrow a museum pass or pickleball equipment, or even a mahjong set. And of course, you can access online books and films. We offer a robust series of programs for children throughout the year, and in the summer, we ramp up these offerings. This summer has been no exception, and magic shows, story time with the Harwich Mariners, craft programs, and other activities, including one on slime today, have been so well attended that we reach capacity on a regular basis. We're currently hard at work developing a full lineup of adult programming, which is one of my top priorities. You can expect to see a variety of offerings on our program calendar each month, and you can stay up to date on what's happening at the library by subscribing to our monthly newsletter or to our new resource, Wowbrary, a tool designed for you to learn more about our most recent acquisitions. I'd like to highlight a September program that's already starting to generate a lot of interest.
Last spring, the library was selected by the Massachusetts Center for the Book as a host library for a discussion and author Q&A with Joseph Lee and Aquina Wampanoag, whose book, Nothing More of This Land, offers a personal exploration of Indigenous identity. You can sign up for one of the sessions through our website or at the circulation desk in the library. Also in September, we'll be offering programs during Cape Cod Clean Water Week, and we have a great series of author talks and concerts in the planning stages for later in the fall. I look forward to working more closely with town departments, including the Conservation and Natural Resources Departments, town organizations like the Harwich Conservation Trust and Harwich Historical Society, and expect additional programming and areas for collaboration to result from these efforts. Finally, I wanted to mention that it's been a number of years since the library last created a long-range plan. This is high on my list of priorities, and together with the Board of Trustees and library staff, we're expecting to begin the process of developing a plan in the fall. We will, of course, solicit feedback from residents, taxpayers, and library users, and I hope you'll take time to answer surveys or attend community forums when the time comes. Of course, you're also welcome to stop by the library and my office to share your thoughts as well. Thanks for your time today. I look forward to seeing you in the library.
Any questions for the library director?
I got one issue that was underneath the microphone.
Not library related? All right, we'll bring that, we can see if there's anybody else for library? Please.
Do you accept donations?
The question, just for the public, is if the library accepts donations.
Yes, we do, and they also are accepted by the Friends of Brooks Free Library for their book sales.
Ma'am, can I get your name?
Queen Dax, 18 Harbor Way, West Harwich.
I couldn't hear, but I'm sure you did.
Quinn from 18 Harbor Way.
Thank you very much.
Gwen.
All right, clear as mud, right? Perfect. Any other questions for the library? Excellent. Thank you very much for your presentation. So with that, we will open it up to other questions. Sir, if you'd like to come to the podium.
My name is Ed Costello, 79 Shore Road, and I want to talk about Gray Neck Road Beach. Now, 10 years ago, I stood up here and talked, and I explained how Gray Neck Road Beach had been just devastated by the wall that the town had put in order to protect the Nantucket cable. The consensus was we have to re-nourish Gray Neck Road Beach every year. For 10 straight years, they have re-nourished Gray Neck Road Beach beautifully, so that the whole area is happy. Everybody brings their kids to the beach. We don't have a lifeguard. We don't need a lifeguard. You got little kids playing in the water, and there couldn't be a nicer environment to be. So it's really an asset to the town. Now, all of a sudden this year, one thing happened. In years gone by, when that beach got renourished, Allen Harbor was dredged. They'd put the pipe out through the water onto the beach, and they would run the slurry onto the beach. And they had different ways of doing it. One of the things that they did was they just let it come out of the end of the pipe, okay? But they had the end of the pipe in a certain position. Another way they did it, it came out at the end of a pipe, but they had some kind of a connection on the end of the pipe, which made it like a spray. That worked beautifully. And then, since then, everything else that they've done until this year has worked beautifully. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I think this year, I was there for 4 straight days, the pipes were on the beach. And they were spraying water on the beach. However, the end of the pipe was pointing out towards the end of a jetty on the next piece of property, which made most of the sand go out into the ocean. So it did not go onto the beach. It went out to the ocean, and some of it came back onto the beach. Now, I guess I'm like a little mayor over there, but everybody came up and complained to me, what happened? Every time high tide comes in, we have to leave the beach because the tide is running up to the walls. Well, what did happen, in addition to so much sand going into the ocean, it just completely flattened the whole area. So you didn't need any kind of an extreme tide or any special high tide. And almost every day, the water would come in and go up to the rocks, and people had to leave the beach. And it was all because of the way that the slurry was put on the beach and the direction that it took. Now, I saw this happening, and I was sick of it because it really shouldn't have been that way. They gave us so much sand that it was amazing, and we are so thankful for that sand. And if you look at that beach right now, it's a beautiful beach, but it's a beautiful beach right now, not like it was through the month of July, because over a period of time, nature takes over everything and it moves sand and you have a situation where you have very little seaweed now, and you have a little bit more room at high tide. However, I'm here just to make a suggestion, and I'm here to thank the town. Thank the town for doing it for 10 straight years, and we've had a beautiful beach and a beautiful neighborhood over there. However, what happens is when that slurry was spread this year, it was so flat that there were very few places you could go on the beach, even in the mid-tide. So my suggestion is, next year, we go back to the old system where they used to pump the sand onto the beach. They also had a front-end loader or a bulldozer, whatever you might want to call it. He stood by and he would move the end of the pipe onto different parts of the beach. And then he would also recontour the beach with his machine. This year, we had it pointing out at a 45 degree toward the ocean. We had no heavy equipment there. All there was, I think, a little bobcat down there. And there was a kid sitting in the bobcat for 4 straight days, and he was able to, or he didn't do anything. So, long story short, next year I would suggest that we be certain that pipe be put in the right direction. You probably won't need as much sand as they pumped this year. They pumped forever, because I know Harwichport wants it. Sand is very valuable, and every place in Harwichport needs it. So I think we could use a little less sand, but a little different direction, and all the people at Granite Row will be as happy as clams.
Excellent. Well, appreciate that. I saw the town administrator taking some notes, so I'm sure he will discuss it with.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm aware, yep.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate that you brought that forward, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
And
No.
I hope they at least, bring you drinks while you're on the beach, something.
Well, I'll tell you another thing then. And I go down the beach every morning and rake the beach. I do it for exercise, and I love it. And I keep the beach as clean as a whistle. I don't pick up a beer can all year long. There's nobody getting drunk down there. There's no kids yelling. There's no screaming. There's no fights. The cops are never called. And it's a perfect little beach that nobody knows about, except all the neighbors, except all the people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and until the Chronicle publishes this, yeah.
Newspaper, and this is on TV.
I'll see you Saturday morning, Mr. Mayor.
You're all sworn to secrecy. So I'd say, if we do that, we'll be back where we were last year. This year, unfortunately, and when I saw it happening, I thought, gee, I know the harbor master has been in charge of that.
Sure.
But I didn't want to act like Mr. Smart Guy. Hey, you're doing something wrong there.
Yeah.
And we wasted so much sand. It's sinful, okay? And rather than having a slope down to the beach, you had a completely flat beach. There was no problem with the water coming in from the ocean and getting up to the rocks, so the people had to move.
Right.
So, the other guy used to get his bulldozer, and he would create a slope, and he'd put everything in perfect position. And you didn't hear anything from us for 10 years, but this year I had to talk about it.
Well, we appreciate you coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other folks in it? Sure, please.
Sorry, guys, I'm Georgia on Windermere, and I just wanted to say for the name of this thing, I'm hoping maybe you could change it for next year to seasonal resident. As someone who's been coming since I was a baby and we've had this house forever, it's almost like a punch in the gut to see non-resident. So everything I do, I go and sign up, are you a resident? Yes. And then I see that and I do not like it. So if you could maybe change the name to seasonal resident.
No disrespect intended. Any other folks in attendance?
Again, Marie Gunnarsson. I've been coming to various board and committee meetings for a while for some of the things going on in my neighborhood. And I want to say thank you for having this, whatever it's called, because I do appreciate that you're recognizing the value of the tax-paying non-residents, the people who don't have legal residence here. I appreciate it. I've had the feeling that no one cares, and I wasn't able to come last year, so I do appreciate this. Thank you. And it's nice to, get some people's names and faces. Thank you.
Appreciate you attending. Anyone else wish to, please?
Hello, Karen Dudziak, 192 Headwaters. I don't know if this is the right forum. I've been reading in the Chronicle about the Marceline property, the 29 acres at the Headwaters and 124 intersection on the north side of Route 6. And I was just very curious because it was very vague, the last article that I read, about the use of the property. It went through a lot of the different kinds of uses, and it listed basically almost anything under the sun could be put there. And I remember years ago, this is probably going back when they cleaned up the property 20 years ago or 15 years ago, they were talking about putting a golf course in there. And now, I don't know if you guys have any information that you can give to us as to what possibly has been decided, because the article I read was a couple weeks old. If you know what is going to happen with that property, does it have to go through a planning board approval with the town administrator or the select board?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I can tell you, unfortunately, we can't give you any answers because we have absolutely no idea. I've reached out to the realtor that's selling the property for the owner. And all I've been told is that it's under agreement, but they have not given us any tidbit of information. I can tell you, there's 99% chance, I'd say 100% chance that whatever they propose is going to have to go through some permitting process in the town. I can't imagine a scenario that as of right that would only require a building permit. So once we know more, there'll be more information and then public meetings on that as well.
Okay.
But right now, they wouldn't tell me whatsoever.
Yeah,
The only thing sorry to interrupt, the only thing we were told is that the potential buyer is still doing their due diligence on the property.
Okay.
So, nothing more that we're aware of.
Yeah, because there's just so much happening at that area, that exchange of 124, Route 6, Queen Anne Road. You've got the other parcel on the east side, southeast side of 6 that was bought and has already had approvals and
Yeah,
all
so
that. I don't know when that is
That
beginning.
project is, that's town-owned property now?
Yes.
Under the Housing Trust in Harwich, and we're putting a multifamily housing project on that. I think it was 70 units, somewhere right around there. 60 units. And that project has received a comprehensive permit and is in line at the state for tax credit financing. And once that's finalized or approved, that would move forward.
So is there any kind of time frame as to when that will be
So they're in
starting?
line at the state, at the, what's EOHLC, which is the regulatory body at the state to receive tax credit financing. It could be 1 year, it could be 5 years. It depends on when the state invests in the tax credits to be able to move the project forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Anybody else? Well, I don't see anybody, but thank you please.
How you doing? Bill Hawley again, Cross Street. Thanks again for this meeting for the, I guess, the seasonal residents. One question I had is something I'd heard recently about my favorite topic, taxes. Not really. But I know there was some discussion I read throughout the year in the wintertime about making some distinction between year-round residents and seasonal residents between the tax rates. I know Chatham had something you were looking at, maybe not as a preference or not as a preference, or I don't know.
Yeah, we have not entertained that in this community at this moment in time, and
Okay.
I'm only going to speak for myself, Mr. Hawley, but I have no appetite for it.
Oh, neither do I. Like I said, I just don't, it doesn't seem fair. You know, we don't get a chance to vote, you take our money, and then you make us pay more. It just didn't seem, you know. Thanks, guys, you restored my faith in you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, correct. Everybody else, good? Excellent. Well, I can't thank you folks enough for coming this evening. It's been a pleasure to see all of you and hear from you, and look forward to doing this again in the near future, next year perhaps. So, thank you. All right, folks, so there are a few items on the agenda that I've talked to the town administrator, potentially been able to skip over this evening, depending on how quickly we move along. So with your indulgence, we'll address them as we get to them. And then I believe you were all made aware of new item B under old business, and that one we'll address when it comes up, but that was information that we received either late Friday or I received it this morning, and so that's why it has been reposted with such items. So again, with that said, we'll jump into the town administrator's report. Jay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a number of contracts I'm going to walk through as quickly as I can here. First, the Harbor Master truck signed a $65,000 contract based on this past year's article at town meeting for a 2026 F-150 to replace the department's 2015 pickup. That came in under the $80,000 that was appropriated at town meeting. The Recovery Coach Program signed a grant agreement with Outer Cape Health for $37,174 through the opioid settlement funds to continue peer support, overdose referral follow-ups, and office hours home visits to residents struggling with substance abuse. Splash Pad Design, which you heard a little bit about tonight, signed a $6,300 contract with Beta for pre-design, not design, but preliminary design and cost estimating for a splash pad at the community center. With the Rec and Youth Commission to be able to bring to CPC this year for a full application. Fire Department gear signed a $55,000 contract with Northeast Rescue System via the state contract funded through this past year's town meeting for structural firefighting coats, pants, boots, and helmets. Police network upgrades signed a $21,000 contract with Hub Technical Services from this past year's town meeting from 2025 town meeting to migrate the police department off the outdated support of Windows 12 to a currently supported system. Mattress Recycling signed a contract with Hands Up LLC to recycle resident drop-off mattresses and box springs for $24.50 each. Natural Resource Truck signed a $68,000 contract with the Colonial Municipal Group for the purchase of a 2027 F-150 from this past year's 2026 annual department annual town meeting appropriation. That came in at $68,000, which was under the $80,000 that was appropriated. A few new hires I wanted to recognize with new employees. Caroline Scotty has joined the town clerk office as an executive assistant. Rice Phillips, who's been serving in an interim capacity, has been appointed as executive assistant in the health department. The Department of Public Works welcomed Louisa Costa as a building custodian and Shane Mendoza as a facilities maintenance manager. Finally hired a facilities manager. to replace Sean's role. That was a long time coming. Jennifer Sprague joins us as an assistant town accountant. Linda Kelly has been transferred from the Council on Aging to Recreation as our new program specialist. And Tiffany Wright joined the Cultural Affairs Building as a program aide. We're glad to have them all part of the team, and thank Angelique for her hard work. And for all the contracts, thanks to our procurement team, Kara, Jim, Natasha, Jen, and Jen. Those are a lot of the backlogs that we're sitting through. We're cranking through the backlog, and that's why you see all those contracts getting executed. Was told this past weekend or on Friday that we should recognize a special member of our community, Helen Simkovich. She was born in 1921 and just recently turned 105. So happy birthday to her on behalf of the Select Board and residents of the town. And then lastly, the game's probably well over now, but I wanted to give a shout out to the Harwich Mariners who are playing in the championship. So good luck and congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, any questions for the town administrator? All right, we're going to jump to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, may I remove two things off the consent agenda for discussion?
You may.
I'd like to remove on item E. I'd like to remove D and E. I'll make a motion for the rest of the consent agenda, absent those two items. I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented in our packet, with the exception of the two items I removed.
Do I have a second?
I'll do a second just for discussion.
Sure, second. Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as printed, minus D and E within item E. Yeah. So, yep. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous? Unanimous. That's what we're going with. Let's go with D and E. Mr. Handler?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept to approve under the item E, items D and E, as presented in the packet.
Motion to approve items D and E within item E of the consent agenda. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Mr. Handler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to begin by just making it very clear so that there is no misunderstanding of where I stand with this. This has nothing to do with the two appointees. I know both, and I think both appointees would be fantastic assets to the town of Harwich in the Board of Health. But on June 22nd, we lost two Board of Health members due to influence or conduct by one of our board members. And since June 22nd, I've been asking to have this put on our agenda for a discussion on potentially how this board and our interview committee may be able to do things a little differently, maybe improve on our process. We haven't had that discussion. Mr. Chair and I talked about it today. No hard feelings toward the chair. I know we've been on a condensed schedule. This is just, in my opinion, a matter of timing. That we have two Board of Health appointees prior to having the discussion, which incidentally I'm looking forward to, as I've got some thoughts on that. But I cannot vote in support or in opposition of this agenda item. So I'm simply going to abstain. And then when I get a little more clarity as to maybe how this board may proceed differently or not proceed differently, it's a board decision. And I'm always happy to follow the board's will. But I think a discussion needs to be had before I'm comfortable voting to put anybody back on the Board of Health. Thank you for the time.
Excellent, thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Howell?
I'm only going to make this brief, but we keep blundering into the same conversation, just so everybody understands. And Anita was there for this conversation. There was never a time where, on our own, we were not going to wind up recommending the appointment of someone. We were actually asking to have a conversation with them. The member who just spoke has been involved in all sorts of engagements with people in the public before. I felt constrained because of legal counsel that we were not supposed to drag anybody, including special town employees, into discussions publicly. If Mr. Handler had wanted to pick up the phone to find out what was going on, and there was nothing going on, there wouldn't have been any vacancies. If this had just gone through the process, it was to have a discussion about behavior, period, nothing else. So if he wants to continue dragging this along, that's fine, but there's a lot of other work in the town of Harwich. And the chair I see, the former chair I see approaching here, there was a lot that was said by her that was totally false. And you can say whatever you want, but I'm not going, I'm tired of this.
I'm glad you're tired of it, because I am
I'm
too.
going to call it to order. There's a motion on the table. The board's ready to take a vote. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, the motion is to approve items D and E within Section E of the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain.
Please.
So 401, please. Thank you. I respect your position and your thoughts.
I would like to make some comments here. I'm going to ask a question, and I don't expect you to answer me, but I'm going to ask it. One, you talked about behavior for Kevin, all right? Did you tell any of the other board members, one, what that was, and two, can they go back and look at the meeting of which it happened in? Do any of you know that? Do any of you know that?
I'm not even sure what you're asking.
Or what I'm asking is, did any of you, not him, did any of you bother to ask him what was the problem with Kevin? What was the behavior issue? And two, if it took place in a meeting, which meeting? Did any of you follow up with that?
I can't speak for everybody. Clearly, no, I didn't follow up about anything.
All right, you know what? And I think that is a crime. That
Okay.
we've got board members sitting here that are not willing to find out exactly what was going on. This whole thing's been shoved underneath the carpet because you guys aren't willing to deal with it.
Well,
I don't even need an answer from you. I'm just stating what I think, because I think this is deplorable.
I appreciate your comments, and I would just respectfully disagree with you that anything's being pushed under the rug. Excellent. So thank you very much.
You don't know what the issue was.
I didn't have an issue. So this,
That was the issue, and you didn't even bother asking what it was.
again, that is your thought process.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Correct.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Please.
Point of order. This is exactly why I want to have the agenda items.
Right.
This can all get flushed out. So, point of order, this is not the time to have this full discussion.
No, agreed, but to clarify, when the agenda item is there, it is not a conversation about one specific situation that occurred. That was what I can assure you. And you can roll your eyes all you would like.
Well, like I said, you guys are.
Thank you.
You don't step up to your positions. I'm sorry, that is the way I feel.
Thank you.
Public hearing.
So we have a scheduled public hearing, if you'd please read the notice.
Yes. Give me three seconds to get there. Legal notice, Town of Harwich Select Board, change of stock and change of officers, directors, and LLC members. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the General Laws as amended, that the application has been made to this board for a change of stock and a change of officers/directors/LLC managers for the annual off-premise wine and malt package store and seasonal off-premise all alcohol package store held by Malik Corporation, DBA Value Mart. Mr. B. Patel, manager, 435 Route 28. Sorry, the first name eludes me. One shareholder, Mitul Patel, is selling his entire 75% interest to Mr. Bahachabari Patel, who will then have 100% and assume all officer and director's roles. The Select Board will hold a hearing of this application on Monday, August 10th, 2026, no earlier than 6 p.m. in the Don B. Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, at which time all interested parties will be heard. Remote access is also available. Please see posted agenda for dial-in information. Select Board Local Licensing Authority, Cape Cod Chronicle, July 16th, 2026.
Mr. Chair, move to open a public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public hearing is open. Mr. Patel, I see you're in the audience?
Yes. Can you hear me, guys?
Oh, Sydney Prokos, is that you? All right.
Yes.
I believe, yeah, and I believe
I'm-
Mr. Patel is also standing.
Yes, I'm going to speak on behalf of the applicant, if that's okay.
Provided Mr. Patel says it is, yes. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm Sydney Prokos, an attorney with Vieira and DJ and Filippo, representing Malik Corporation, doing business as Value Mart at 435 Route 28, Harwich. And this is an extremely straightforward one for you tonight. Existing owner, Mr. Barchabai Patel, is buying out his partner, Matul Patel, and replacing Matul as president. So now Barchabai will be the 100% owner and hold all officer positions. No other changes at all to the operations, just internal movement. Any
All right.
questions?
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation. Anything you wanted to add? No? Any member of the public wishing to comment on this petition?
Mr.
Seeing
Chair,
none.
motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is closed. I'll entertain a motion from the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize a change of stock and a change of officers, directors, and LLC managers for the annual off-premise wine and malt package store and seasonal off-premise all alcohol package store held by Millet Corporation, DBA Value Mart, Bahashabari Patel, manager, 435 Route 28, Harwich.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Sorry
Transfer
about
is
the name.
complete.
Can you state the name? Say the name, please.
Behcherbai is long name.
Yeah, please say it.
Behcherbai.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was close.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Attorney Prokos, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I was sort of.
Thank you. Take care.
You basically nailed it, Jeff.
I hit on the park.
Moving along to old business, item A.
Old business, item A. Would you like a vote to approve what's in the packet, or do you want to
Yeah.
begin the discussion?
Well, why don't you put a motion together, and then we'll have a discussion.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the town administrator goals and evaluation process as presented in the packet.
Second.
Well, and the part that we
With the
are,
elements stated.
yeah, so the part, and I'm trying to find it, but of course I
As am
can't.
I got it
The,
right here, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry?
I got it right here if you want me to walk through it.
Yeah, if you could, Jay, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So this process sets up the formal goals that you'll evaluate me on come March. The 5 goals that we have is around, Goal 1 is operation efficiency and service delivery. Goal 2 is financial management, fiscal sustainability. Goal 3, employee development retention. Goal 4, wastewater infrastructure regional planning. Goal 5, select board strategic priorities. Now, under each of these goals, there's input that we've included that's in the packet. I think we've struggled around approving them at the last few meetings because of Goal 5, which was the select board strategic priorities. What we have for those 5 proposed strategic priorities or strategic initiatives would be 1, entertainment policy, liquor license regulation review, obviously tied to the concerns around having the liquor license and the entertainment policy coupled together. Looking at that and reviewing that. Second would be municipal building leases and license review. Conduct a comprehensive review of licenses and leases affecting municipal buildings and town-owned property. Initiative 3, CWMP next steps, explore and define next steps with the CWMP. 4, wastewater and recharge options, looking at West Harwich. Explore wastewater and recharge options in West Harwich, including coordinating and joint planning with the town of Dennis. And 5, strategic planning session, facilitate a strategic planning session. Pretty straightforward. So those would be the 5 initiatives that would be tied to goal number 5.
And I just want to stress that these 5, and I'll use the word objectives, are independent and separate from the new business item A. All right, so new business item A is gonna be a whole different conversation. However, this is, I guess the way to look at it, the objectives in front of you tonight, outlined as 1 through 5, are really for the next 12 months.
Or 6 months even,
6
because we're gonna
months,
get
so,
evaluated in
yeah,
March.
Yeah. So the new business item A is really, you know, the next 5, 10, 15 years. It's so that, although they may have some similarities, the ultimate understanding is that what we're doing now is for his next, really first employee evaluation. So with that said,
Can I just jump in
please,
at this point?
absolutely.
So, it might have been last, or I don't even think it made an agenda, but we did an email back and forth about the actual process. And that was the evaluation process of the town administrator. That's a separate item.
Actually, we're gonna approve all 3. I mean, we don't need to approve the evaluation today, but in the packet today, the first item is the evaluation document, and it's pretty much just tied directly to these 5 goals. So there's 2 standing items that are like, how's my leadership and ethics? How's my professional development and strategic vision? And then 3 through, I don't know what.
I'm asking about the process that we're gonna follow with all 5 of us have to do it.
So we can have that discussion sooner than later. I think personally, I think it may be better when we launch this. In other words, when.
Sure. I just don't want it forgotten.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, great.
Because then we'll outline what our roles and responsibilities are, and then how the process will be to, do a cumulative review and presentation in the whole 9 yards.
Perfect.
So, I agree.
Just checking to see where it stood.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff, and now I remember exactly what you're talking about. Just the process to go through the evaluation, so everyone's comfortable with that, not the document
Exactly.
itself.
Yeah, but this is great.
Yeah, so tonight.
This has my support.
To pun intended, tonight's goal is to get this thing buttoned up so that Jay knows exactly what he's working on going forward, and we understand what his objectives are as well, to help support us, independent of the other items listed as well. So, further comments, questions?
I'm ready to move ahead and vote on it.
We have a motion in a second, right? Do we have a motion? Yeah, we have a motion.
Okay.
Jen, yes? We have a motion, a second, of course we do. All right, so there is a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to authorize the chair to sign affordable housing regulatory agreement for 5 Bells Neck Road.
Second.
Do you have something you need to
I
read?
do, I can just explain real quick, just in case there's any confusion on the
Yeah.
board of why.
So we have a
this is-
motion and a second, and for the discussion piece, Jay, if you could.
Yeah, so I'm sorry that this was added so late. We heard word from the state on Friday regarding our safe harbor application, that without the Bells Neck regulatory agreement being approved by the town, the developer in EOHLC, they'd have a hard time giving us the 2 years because the math includes these units. So we added it tonight in the hopes that EOHLC will sign it on their end extremely quickly, and thus we'll get credit for the units in Bells Neck. So this is a standard EOHLC LIP agreement, Local Initiative Program Agreement. That EOHLC, for those at home, is the state board that controls affordable housing. This is for 5 Bells Neck project, the old Harwich school site on Bells Neck Road in West Harwich. The developer is John Kerry. The project, which has already been permitted and everything's gone through, this doesn't have anything to do with that, is for 10 units total. 3 of those units, 2 one-bedroom units and 1 two-bedroom units, when you sign this, become permanently affordable deed-restricted units. Rents are capped at roughly $1,800 for the one-bedroom and $2,100 for the two-bedroom. Tenants have to qualify at or below 80% of mean income. By signing this tonight, this puts these units on our SHI, which is our subsidized housing inventory. There's no requirement for the town to do anything other than sign this agreement, although we do have the right to inspect and approve the marketing plans moving forward, should we want to.
And so, based on what Jay just said, obviously, we're utilizing the, not reasonably anticipated for tonight's agenda because we didn't receive word until late Friday. So in any event, that's why we have it this evening. Mr. Howell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure, because this is being done somewhat piecemeal. I had sat in on the call, the original call with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. And the way that this is part of a whole. When the promise was made, I think Jeff made it at town meeting, to seek safe harbor, the conditions that EO, or Executive Office, whatever, it's a lot of letters again, stated was we needed to be able to show that we've approved numbers of units, and that included the Marceline property, and included the Pine Oaks property, and now it includes this. That's how they decided that they would move forward provisionally. We still have to show progress towards actually completing all of the things that aren't completed, or else we will lose the safe harbor. So I just want everybody to know this is all part of several different things coming together.
Further comments? Hearing none, there is a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Let's skip A for now. Let's jump to C through F in that order.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to appoint a hearing officer and to conduct a public hearing for an alleged entertainment liquor license violation that occurred on July 17th, 2026 at Perks at 545 Route 28, Harwich Point.
Second.
Did that include that it would be the town administrator?
I did not include the town administrator. I figured we'd open it for discussion to determine who it would be.
I remove my second.
Yeah, and I'll remove my motion. Would you like it to be the town administrator?
Well, that's what we've been doing, but if we include it, then we can have the discussion, and if we want to change it, we
Fair
could.
enough. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to appoint the town administrator as the hearing officer, and to conduct a public hearing for an alleged entertainment liquor license violation that occurred on July 17th, 2026 at Perks, 545 Route 28.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I think until we have a larger board discussion, I'm okay with that and
Yeah.
support it.
And just so the board knows, you know, and I know Selectman Handler had asked for this as well, and it is on our short list of items for a future agenda item, and so we're gonna get it there, if not the next meeting, the meeting thereafter, because it's, you know, it's up to the entire board how we wanna proceed. Again, historically, you know, the board has, well, I guess I'm not gonna say historically, there's been a period of time where the board did conduct the hearings, and then they designated the town administrator to conduct said hearings. So we can decide as a collective body if that's how we want to continue, but the motion right now is to appoint the town administrator for this particular hearing. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Item D.
Mr. Chair, I vote to appoint the town administrator as the hearing officer to conduct a public hearing for an alleged entertainment liquor license violation that occurred on July 26th, 2026 at Perks, 545 Route 28.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a special permit for a one-day entertainment and one-day wines and malt permit for Taylor Fox for an event to be held on August 22nd, 2026 from 3 p. to 6 p. Event to be held at the 204 Sisson Road.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment and one-day wine and malt permit for Joe Young IV, Big Sound Productions LLC, for an event to be held on October 24th, 2026, from 3:30 p. to 7:15 p. Event to be held at the 204 Sisson Road.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Let's jump back to A, and Jay, I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Have a really brief presentation here just to understand the process around strategic planning. As soon as we have that up, I'll jump into it. All right, so we're going to start off by trying to explain what the Chair Pekarsky and I have attempted to bring forward tonight. So what we're trying to do is bring forward a strategic planning process to the Select Board that would allow us to set focus areas tonight in preparation of a proposed strategic planning session in September. So what we're hoping to do is find a Saturday in September where the 5 select board members and myself, and probably Jim, because he gets stuck having to go to everything, would meet to kind of set our strategic plan in place for the next number of years. So I'm going to get into a little bit of what exactly a strategic plan is, but that's it. So what we're trying to do tonight is to set high-level focus areas so that we can be productive in September, and I can work with my office between now and then to align those focus areas so that we're able to be productive that day in September. So that's trying.
And just real briefly, and sorry to jump in, tonight is really 50,000 foot level, right? And even that day in September, we only want to be about the 30,000 foot level. We're not looking to get that granular. So again, to Jay's point, we're just trying to say if these are the 5 pillars we want to move forward with right now, and then we'll start to whittle them down. And then as time goes on, even after that Saturday session, as time moves on, Jay will come back with updates from his department heads and himself, and we'll continue to work on those as time goes on. So
Everybody get that from a high level? The idea tonight, so we're going to set focus areas that we'd refine in September. Make sense? All right. So what is a strategic plan? It's a written set of priorities that the board can agree on together, the why behind the budget, staffing, policy, decisions, what's going to guide us for the next, as Pete said, 10 to 15 years. The why that's important, the board sets the goals, that's the guiding principles around each focus area, and then staff builds the initiatives under those goals and brings them back to the board to approve. So what ends up happening at the end of the day is we have an actual document that is our strategic plan for the next number of years, for the next 5 to 10 years as a board. Why this is important? Because you all change. You didn't this year, but you might next year. You know, the hope is that.
damn right.
Who's that? All right, you may change next year. I don't know how else to say it.
Choose to allow it to change.
Board members change. Elections happen, staff turns over without a written plan. How do we not run around like chickens with our heads cut off every year, not knowing what the real priorities are? So the hope is that we put together a plan that will go across multiple boards in multiple years, that this is the plan. This is what we're working on, and this is how we're doing it. And then once a year, we would refresh it and look at it, check in, how's it going? You know, where are we at with this? And do a check-in so that it's a plan that's reviewed and not shelved. So that's the idea behind a strategic plan. The roadmap, our specific roadmap. Tonight, we're hoping to set the focus areas so that we can be mostly productive. I mean, if we had a ton of time, we would do the focus areas the day of the strategic plan. But our thought was our time's precious. It's hard to find time for us to get together to do this. So if we could take the first step tonight, it would help. And then obviously anything we talk about tonight can be also changed because nothing's set in stone. So then between now and September, I'd be working with the focus areas that you set up to propose goals and objectives under these focus areas. We'd schedule the retreat for Saturday in September, where we'd spend a half a day together working around these goals and objectives. The plan would be drafted. It would be synchronized with CWMP, capital plan, financial policies. I'd work with the department heads to put initiatives to those, bring that plan back to the board for adoption, and we'd define performance indicators in it. KPIs would be set up, so we'd say, all right, in 6 months, this is a step that we'd have to have taken to be working towards success with that goal. So that's kind of the roadmap. So this is for examples only. Pete and I went back and forth on this over the weekend, over the last couple of weeks, but ultimately this is the 5 of you's focus areas on things that we would consider important to look at and dig in on over the next 5 years. So we thought about, there was 2 trains of thought here. One, do we come in with this slide empty and let the conversation pursue? Or 2, do we put together examples of things that seem important to Pete and I based on the work that we've all talked about over the last number of years and let the conversation flow? But one thing that's super important is these aren't set in stone. They can all change completely. If you don't agree tonight that community engagement makes any sense to be a focus area, it comes off the list. We just wanted to put something on paper to start the conversation, and given that we had the non-resident taxpayer thing, we probably figured no one wanted to be here till midnight, so we needed to do that. So we have a focus area around fiscal sustainability. What policies should guide levy strategy, reserve levels, debt tolerance, capital investment, the Monomoy Regional Assessment. Water, wastewater, or water infrastructure, I think that was supposed to be water, wastewater infrastructure, I'm sorry. Water, wastewater infrastructure, what direction, or I guess wastewater actually, completely, not water infrastructure, wastewater infrastructure. What direction should guide CWMP adoption, sewer expansion priorities, recharge strategy, and coordination with Dennis and Chatham? A lot of conversation around town-wide infrastructure. So what is the 15 to 20-year vision that should guide the town buildings, roads, network infrastructure, and how projects should be matched to available funding? Community engagement. Not really sure. That's something that's a main priority to me, and communication around community engagement. But what direction should guide how early and often we reach out to residents on big decisions? And then finally, land use, growth, and economic development. What direction should guide zoning modernization? We've looked at talked about form-based code, we've talked about zoning work groups, economic development in key areas. That's something that hasn't really been a focus, but I think independently, everyone's talked to me about economic development. Harbor waterways policies, entertainment liquor license, leasing policies. That could be a catch-all of a lot of these smaller items that we're trying to accomplish. So these are the focus areas that we came up with, and I'm just going to pause now and let the discussion happen.
Mr. Hull?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, especially given how the meeting started out. We're trying to manage expectations, even though we're still 30,000 to 50,000 feet above. Everyone, I still am the town's rep on the Clean Waters Board in the county. In order for any project to get approved, it has to be subject to a comprehensive wastewater management plan. It has to get an IUP approved for us to get any funding. But the real crux of the matter is a lot of the stuff that was talked about earlier, and I'm no big fan of sewers. I think I'm probably the least favor the least on this board, except for the chair himself. The criteria are somewhat rigged because the state requires you to use whatever methodologies they approve. So while IAs sound attractive, we would have to come up with a wholly separate infrastructure to be able to inspect them and everything, because we're still going to be on the hook for them testing for the nitrogen flows in the future. I don't want to raise anybody's expectations that we're just going to stop sewering and everything's going to go into everybody buying their individual toilet to put in their house, because it isn't going to happen currently. And it's kind of like the housing discussion was. We don't get to determine ourselves what the game rules are. The state does. We have to operate within that confine.
Until we want to push back, but I agree.
Yeah, well, we've got a list of other things I believe you're going to be talking about in the future.
Yeah. Mark?
Sure, I think this is a good start. Just so I'm clear, and the people in the public are clear, we have a budget summit coming up this month, correct?
Correct.
That's more to align for the fiscal year 28 budget, correct?
Correct. I think the way Jen and I looked at that is the kickoff to the FY28 budget season.
Okay, so this is a broad, longer view. Budget summit is a short view. The only thing I would say, we have a lot of studies that are done, the local comprehensive plan. We have a lot of data and information that can also be incorporated. What I've found in the town, we do a lot of studies and things like that, and they get put on the shelf. For example, traffic studies. I do compliment you on getting an implementation plan on some of those things. But that's all I'd say. This is a great start.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to touch on that piece, once these sessions begin, that's what Jay and his team would do. They would take, whether it's the CWMP or the comprehensive local plan, and incorporate it into some of the data or the recommendations that come back to us, some of the information that comes back to us.
Right.
That would be upon, incumbent upon them to bring back to us.
Right. As we have a trove of data available, so.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, just a brief announcement.
Sure.
Harwich Mariners just won the game. The final game is tomorrow night at White House Field. Tied 1-1. Go Mariners.
Awesome. Thank you for that update, Richard.
Thanks.
Anita?
I just totally lost my train of thought.
Oh, perfect.
You did it for us.
No, I think this is a good start. It's a good start.
All right, excellent. Mr. Handler?
I love the concept. I like being at 50,000 feet. At this point, if we're, are we actually looking to, and I heard you, and I was reading, and are we looking to potentially give some other options for the focus areas tonight?
If you want it tonight, or we can,
So, not to cut you off, I'm gonna cut you off.
Please.
Okay. The other day, when we met with the regional government, I hope, I'm not convinced by any standard or measure, but I hope regional government will get more involved with the towns to have a greater voice up in Boston. So I would like to see something on this, touching on how the town of Harwich is going to work with regional government in a different way. That's 100,000 feet, because I don't know how to frame it any differently than that. But I can't comfortably sit back and let things go the way they've been going, or they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, and
and I don't disagree at all, and just looking at the big board over there, we're happy to switch some things around, but I think it could also be incorporated within community engagement.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just, so.
And that's the piece, right? So the headers are the headers, but we can start to dig in a little bit more to some of the definition within it. And so to your point, to engage county level folks, we can absolutely put that within community.
Perfect.
Unless, again, if folks want a community out and something.
It may, instead of communication and community engagement, communication and community/government engagement. Something to make it very clear that we're not reaching out to the community as a whole. We're actually specifically aiming straight at the commissioners. So, they left here saying they heard us. They left here saying they heard us. I think we need to stay on top of that and make sure that we hold them accountable for hearing us.
Yeah.
And push back. I love the point about pushing back. And I'd love to see a pushback to the state. I want to vet, they've changed goalposts on us multiple times. We should push back.
And I think that will definitely be part of our Saturday conversation, right? That will be some of the feedback and instruction we give the town administrator, that we don't want to just sit back and accept certain things. We need to push. And it depends on what it is, but of course, if it's in the community's best interest to push back, then that's what we do.
Correct.
And if we fail, then so be it, but at least we didn't try. But that'd be part of the Saturday session. But what I'll say is, let's play around a little bit with community engagement.
Community and government engagement, I think, sounds okay to me.
Yeah. Mr. Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Newsflash, I totally agree with Mr. Handler.
8:46 PM.
Yeah, okay, write that down. We noodled around the discussion with the county commissioners, and I think primarily revolving around at least three specific fixed issues, like roads, housing, water, but that would include sewering. I don't see that there's anything that's mutually exclusive. The chair and I have discussed the possibility of sending a letter at some point to confirm, because we did take an action. We sent a letter, and it was really abundantly clear when we sent it to the commissioners that we didn't expect, or the Cape Cod Commission, we didn't really expect them to say yes, because they're being told no by the state also. But a follow-on letter probably would be appropriate to say, okay, perhaps you misunderstood us, but it wasn't that we were asking you to give us permission to do this. We know you can't either. So we need you to join with us and other communities to talk about local control of things, because it's just lip service. If they say you got local controls, but you've got regulatory bodies that have to use mass general laws that are very restrictive. So I would like to see the agenda items sooner than later for the actual letter, because we can get the ball rolling on this.
Yep, and that will definitely be forthcoming. Again, we'll take a look at what the next meeting looks like, or the meeting thereafter, but every time I say next meeting, this was supposed to be a fairly light agenda, and here we are. So with that said, they're definitely on the list, and we'll have them. But yeah, let's continue to massage the community engagement section and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I'll play around with that.
But I think overall, the framework will work for you folks, and we can proceed, and we can start to search out some dates in September?
I just meant that we shouldn't necessarily wait for that discussion.
Oh, no, agreed.
To
Yeah,
commence
yeah.
some of these
Yep.
things that we may want to think
Yep,
are
no,
urgent.
agreed. That letter can absolutely be an agenda item. Because again, this isn't, what we're gonna do isn't that granular. It's not about, are we gonna write a letter? So we can do that letter at regular board business. So, any other comments before we move on? Good? All right. Thank you for that. KP Law retainer proposal. So, just real briefly, Jay, before I turn it over to you, this is something we talked about when we interviewed all of the law firms that came before us. I thought it was important that we at least understood what packages KP had available to us. And I'll declare up front that there were three. One is the way it is now. We just pay everything on an hourly rate. And option 2, which I didn't love. Option 3, I like. I'm not going to say I love it. I like it better than 2. I still have some reservations, but ultimately, I think, looking at some of the numbers, it's worthy of our discussion this evening and perhaps our support. And I guess the overall thing, what I wanted to say is, we may be married to it for a year, but that's it. We don't have to have this in perpetuity. We can clearly come back to it at some point in time, if it's not in the best interest of the town, and change things up. So, now that I see Jay squinting at a screen, I'll turn it back over to him.
All right, yeah, so I forwarded to you a recommendation from administration regarding the 3 options that were proposed by KP Law. I'm recommending option C. I've looked at town council usage and costs over the last 3+ fiscal years now, and can pretty easily say that outside of comprehensive permits that are, we have to have legal review through ZBA and anything in planning and litigation, for general legal services, this would be a good way to move forward. I didn't really see any downside to proceeding with that. I mean, I think if we ran it for a year or till we have a discussion regarding whether we want to stay with KP moving forward next April, what this allows from my perspective is A, to save a little bit of money, and B, to be able to adequately budget so that as we get, when you look at the costs associated with legal over the last few years, they've fluctuated up and down. And this allows some stability in that line item. And when you look back at the last few years, this would not have cost us more money. This would have saved us money, particularly in the last 6 months. I think we have a good policy in place from the select board and town staff level that things need to go through my office for access to council. I don't think that's saved the day or reinvented the wheel, but I think it has tightened things up a little bit, and that's borne out in the last year, looking at the costs as well. I think where we get fluctuation in legal billing is when we deal with complicated comprehensive permits and litigation. But moving outside of that lane, with this proposal, I think we'd be able to really offer much more clarity around the remainder of the FY27 fiscal year as it relates to legal costs, as long as we don't get sued.
Well, in litigation, there's a buffer in there, right, for each case. There's a $25,000 buffer.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Which is about 100 hours worth of their time before, additional fees kick in. So I'll say it this way, it's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. And I also provided in the packet the list of exempt from the retainer services. But, where we're at, everything's matter. The safe harbor letter gets approved. We're not going to be dealing with any comprehensive permits in the next year or next 2 years. So right now, we have no pending litigation. So, I think the retainer lets us work through the remainder of FY27 in a way that allows us to budget the best and most accurate.
Open it up to you folks. Anita, any comments, thoughts, questions?
No, I'm very happy with with Jay's proposal and recommendation of option C. I've gone over this and I think it does make sense, but that's my opinion.
Sure. Mr. Handler.
Jay and I spoke about it, and I want to thank you for putting together the data packet for me, for all of us. I think for me it was helpful because, for almost 2 years, we were really questioning whether or not we were using council in a fiscally responsible way. with your information here, and for the public to understand that we were. And there were things that we could have done better, but not by a lot. And to identify this option, I think, is moving us in the right direction, and I like the fact that we're married to it only for 1 year. So there's a parachute if we need it, and I'd support it.
Mr. Kelleher.
Excuse me, I basically agree with my colleagues. Next year, if we have a lot lower legal costs, we have a year to look at it again. We don't have to pay $168,000. I think it gives budget certainty. So I do want to compliment, as my colleague, Mr. Handler said, excellent presentation. Whoever did that is.
Natasha did a great job
Did a
with
great
it.
job.
Appreciate the work she did.
No, but I'm in favor of it. It gives you certainty, and we can go back and look at it again next year.
Mr. Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I, too, agree with everything that's been said. I want to point out to everybody, it's not just the fee structure. It gets reviewed yearly. We hadn't been doing it, but the actual appointment council goes on. So what they charge and how well they do are independent thoughts. And it's probably good for our representation for them to know that we review both the fee structure and their tenancy every single year to assess what's best for Harwich.
Agreed, agreed. All right, with that said, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the KP Law retainer proposal as presented and highlighted in our packet.
Option C.
Highlighted option C.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the 2026 Community Preservation Act agreement with the West Harwich Group, Inc., for the exterior renovation of the historic West Harwich Baptist Church project in the amount of $667,500.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I just had one
Sure.
question. Maybe, Jay, you could elaborate on it, more for the benefit of the public, because you answered my question. My question was, what happens if the spending is less than the allocated amount, $637,000? And if you could explain how that works, the disbursements.
Yep, so with CPC, it reimbursement grants, so with these outside entities, we don't just write them a check for the $667,000. They have to, after this grant agreement's signed, it's basically a contract between us and them to allow them to start expending funds. We've set, and actually you guys voted on the CPC reimbursement policy a few weeks ago that Jen put together that I think makes a lot of sense to both CPC and this board and administration. As costs get borne, they'll submit invoices for reimbursement. There's a process we set in place where there's a number of approvals for this. This is one where I'll be approving the invoices along with the chair of CPC. And, you know, from my approval, it would be taken right out to West Harwich and seeing that they actually put the siding up, you know, things like that.
Thank you.
Are you gonna know if it's the right Hardywood or?
That's Jim's job.
And for the public, it is in the packet how Mr. Carey expects the disbursements to be taken. So, motion and a second.
We have it.
We do.
That's what I said. We have it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item B.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the 2026 Community Preservation Act agreement with the Harwich Conservation Trust for the Robbins Pond Woodlands Land Protection Project in the amount of $225,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. C.
Chair, I move that, I got it, Mr. Chair. I move that we vote to approve a contract with Hub Technical Services LLC for installation of networking infrastructure for the Cultural Arts Municipal Building, 204 Sisson Road, in the amount of $90,285.15.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a contract with Consolidated Trust and Equipment for a vehicle replacement to furnish and equip a 2027 Mack Road tractor in the amount of $197,475.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Waiting to see Mr. Kelleher twitch over here.
These are all items, the next three items are items that were approved at this last year's annual town meeting.
Yep. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we vote to approve a contract with Colonial Municipal Group for vehicle replacement to furnish and equip a 2027 Ford F-450 one-ton dump truck in the amount of $125,861.40.
Second.
Motion and a second. A motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a contract with Colonial Municipal Group for vehicle replacement to furnish and equip a 2027 Ford F-600 hook lift truck in the amount of $175,985.40.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve and authorize the chair to sign the Massachusetts 2026 Intramunicipal Mutual Aid Agreement.
Interagency.
Interagency Municipal Aid Agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Chief Considine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief Considine.
I would have pushed it up if I.
No, that's okay. I love being here.
We love having you here.
This is the mutual aid agreement that all Cape Towns sign. It's been in effect probably 20, 25 years for us. The reason why it's in front of you tonight is because the newer chief in Nantucket is jumping on this agreement. Nantucket was not on this agreement, now it is, so in case we need to take a boat ride over to help Nantucket, we now are able to do that. But this gives police powers to all police officers Cape-wide under this agreement, which is vitally important. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. Looks like we tackled all the items on tonight's agenda, so we'll open up the Select Board members' report. Anita?
I don't have anything to report, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Handler?
I only will say, I'm gonna start my Select Board office hour with me. And I'm gonna start that, and I'll bring it up again on our next agenda, Mr. Chair, if we could put it on the agenda for the public to see. I'll just announce it now. It'll be September 8th, which is Tuesday morning from 7:30 to 8:45. Location to be determined at this point.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelleher?
Sure. I took a tour of the Monomoy Middle School renovation project. The demolition and siding work is near completion. The contractual scope work is on schedule for August 20th. The contractor is working 2 shifts and working Saturdays to keep the project moving forward. School will open on time, be very functional. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Howell?
As I bring the level of the conversation down, I just want to report that after a short 6-week stint at my house, my daughter and grandchildren went home yesterday. There should be a lot more room to work.
There you go. Excellent.
Mr. Chair, I did want to just announce, I forgot earlier, that we have our first Monomoy School Working Group meeting next Thursday night. More to report after that meeting.
All right.
Where was that be held?
I think it's going to be, I think we ended up deciding it has to be held in Chatham because this room wasn't available.
Okay.
I'll confirm and let the board know, but it's next Thursday night. It's also online, so you could log in if you're interested.
Chair, do you have anything?
What's that?
Chair have anything?
I do not have anything.
Move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Enthusiastic.